materials, and you can have 3 different guys each go get one of the materials, and then you can knock things out super quick. So good stuff. Good stuff.
So you say.
Well, I have a weird taste in games, so maybe not.
Mhm.
But yep.
Well, anyway, we're live.
We're live. We're live on Maneater Eve.
Man Eater
It,
Eve.
isn't, it comes out on Friday. It isn't
No, it comes out tomorrow night. Well, it comes out official launch date is the 22nd, but if you pre-order it on Xbox, your download goes live at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. PS4 goes live at midnight. PC goes live at midnight as well.
You can't pre-order it on PS4.
No, you can't. They didn't get their PS4 didn't get it approved in time, but at 12:01 you can buy it on the PS4 store.
Yeah, I'm
So-
gonna have to wait until then, I suppose.
Well, if you got a good enough PC, you can get it cheaper on the Epic store, but
Well,
if you
but I like having for a game like that. wanna
I agree.
play-
I completely agree, and it looks like a blast. I hope you like it. I'm real excited about it.
Yeah. But anyway,
He's going to shit all over it.
I'm not shitting over anything.
Lance likes Jaws almost as much as I do, man. So this is a game I would imagine would be right up your alley.
Good gravy. You just like already starting in.
Barry jumping the shark on you already.
Aha! Why aren't you in your shop muddling around?
Because I
Hi,
can't do what I
Kabuki.
want to do. It's too late. I got to run some machinery.
Hmm.
Oh, I could do it. I shaped some wood today, so I'm waiting for that to settle all down. Then tomorrow I'll make some tendons and mortises. Finish up that
Richard
door.
Ham. I so wish you guys started an hour or two later. We'll try to get on by 8 o'clock his stupid West Coast time. It's like, why would we start at 11? I mean, that's just anyway. I just got an email.
You started 11. Shit, I would only be
It
on.
would be just you and me.
It's a shame. I hate the time zone stuff. I guess if we did if the show wasn't on Wednesday, it wouldn't be as bad. If it was like Friday or Saturday, I could stay up till 2 or 3 and just bite the bullet because I could sleep in. But when it's on a weekday, it's like, yeah, once I get past like 12:30, 1 o'clock, I'm out. It just sucks that we're a couple hours apart. If it was only a 1 hour difference, it wouldn't be so bad. But being a 2 and 3 for some
Yeah.
of us, it's.
Why can't it just be the same time everywhere in the world all the time?
I wish they'd get rid of fucking daylight savings time and time zones and all that. I mean, people would have adjusted to the time and the difference in the sun and whatnot, all that stuff. If we had just once technology got to the point that farmers didn't need all that, we should have just went to a standardized time system for.
Well, but you still have. I mean, you still have the sun determining whether or not there's light or not. I
Yeah,
mean,
but like people like live in Alaska and stuff, they have no concept of day and night because it's like day for 20 something hours and night. I mean, they don't have a normal day night cycle like us. So people adapt and they don't have any issues with the fact that it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it's pitch black, or it's 3 in the morning and it's still like noon for us. I mean, I think we would have adapted to it. I mean, maybe I get the time zones a little bit, but like daylight savings time needs to end. Like that 1 hour difference just screws things up even worse. But if the entire US went to one standardized time zone, I don't see how it'd be that big a deal.
the one I wonder about is I remember as a kid, like it would say, oh, Magnum PI, it would be 7 o'clock Thursday night, and then it would say like 8 o'clock Eastern and Pacific.
Mhm.
So but I never. So now thinking back, and I'm sure I could just Google this and I could find out the answer. But so 7 p.m. is the same as 8 p.m. Eastern, right? So I'm guessing like they just had a different broadcast because you couldn't go 8 p.m. Pacific, because 8 p.m. Pacific would be
11
10 o'clock.
Well, yeah, 10
11
Central.
East Coast, and yeah. So they must have just did another.
They held it back
right?
a couple hours.
Yeah, I'm sure they just did a different broadcast. So the channel, the Eastern Coast channel NBC wasn't the same as the Western Coast channel NBC, and they would stagger their shows to be the right time. I mean,
even like the Carson show and all that wasn't live. It was
but I mean,
live.
the time zones, especially in the US, cause such an issue when you're talking about releases, especially like digital releases and all this stuff with all the staggered time zones and show schedules and all that stuff. I mean, it's 3 hours. I mean, yes, the West Coast people, depending on which side it flipped to, Yeah, you'd have West Coast people that'd be 5 in the morning and it'd be like bright as sunny, and you'd have people in the evening, it'd be 5 p.m. and it'd be dark. But again, I think everyone would adjust. Jobs would adjust, and you just shift the hours you come in and come out, to make it the same as it is now. I mean,
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. I've always thought at least daylight savings for sure. That 1 hour flip twice a year, I wish would just go away. And maybe time zones are still needed. I still hate it though. I mean,
when you work, I enjoy the time zones because that fucked me up during the winter. I worked at night, so I'd go in at night. I come out at night.
yeah, I suppose. And I guess it would hurt certain things too. Like if you're online playing games and everyone was on the same schedule now, it wouldn't be that staggering of people. So at like 5 o'clock all across the
Yeah,
country, everyone would be getting off that have normal jobs, and you would probably get flooded internets with people that are coming home and getting on their computers or video games. So I can understand how that could cause issues as well. The staggering at least keeps people so that some people are not on, not everyone is on all the time, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of the time zones personally.
Well, let's write somebody. The master of time. Let's see. I mean, yeah, craziness. Anyway, let's just get the boring. Does anybody play any games?
Yes, I actually had a quite extensive week of game playing, PC and board games. So I got to play the King's Dilemma. Finally, we played the first game. Me and my friend Richard and a couple of his friends got together and played King's Dilemma this week,
So
which was
wait a
fun.
minute. You are gathering?
Yep, just four of us, and we are taking all the
Pete.
precautions. Mm-hmm.
What precautions? Like you're in different rooms?
No, Richard's table is big enough that we can all sit like at least 4 or 5 feet apart with no worries and still be able to see the table.
I didn't hear 6 when you
No,
at the end of that.
nope. But the people that are doing it are all responsible and have all been doing the same thing as us. So, I mean, I'm not going to live the rest of my life in my basement. So, our area has got very low infection rate, and things have been actually quite well here. None of us have had any issues, and all of us have been healthy for the last 3 months and all sequestered. So we are getting together once every couple weeks to play games. And if any of us are even slightly sick, we don't show up. And that's everyone agreed to that, and we're going to try to get out and try to do a little bit of gaming every once in a blue moon. So,
Pete.
mm-hmm.
Just gonna shake my head slowly in your direction.
Go ahead.
Shake his head slowly.
What?
You can be jealous all you want, but it's not changing my mind. I'm doing it because I am tired of sitting here staring at walls.
Me and my brother-in-law were talking. I need to pour a patio out here.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brother-in-law were talking about how to do this with this COVID stuff because it'll take some, concrete's a grunt work. But I'm with you. You got to live your life eventually. Yeah.
Yep.
I would like to wait till they had at least, a vaccine. But
yeah, but I'm not going to wait another 19 months or 18 months or even 6 months. We're none of us are at high risk. All of us are healthy. None of us have pre-existing conditions, and we're being responsible. It's not like we're going out and hanging out at a crowded beach bar or anything like that. It's 4 people in a basement, and we're washing our hands and not doing stupid stuff like sharing drinks or snacks or any of that stuff. It's very comfortable. I wouldn't, at no point did I feel any issue at all. And we were all very careful about when we got up to not like walk next to each other and stuff. I mean, if you're smart and responsible and have even a slight bit of hygiene, you're gonna be fine. So
yeah,
not worried about it. If I was worried about it, I wouldn't do it. And I didn't for 3 months, but I'm going to strategically and smartly live my life again, a little at a time. And if I feel like things are getting worse again, then I'll hold myself back up. But right now, our area, 500,000 people, and we have less than 100 cases reported over this entire thing. That's a very, very microscopic percentage. And unless we get a big surge or spike, I'm going to slowly do stuff. Like I'm not going to go to even though I need a haircut desperately, I'm not going to go to the barbershop because I don't know those people. But if I know the people and I feel comfortable with them, then we will gather in small groups of 4 or less. And that's pretty much what I talked with my wife about it, and she said that seems perfectly reasonable, and that's what we're going to do. So
yeah. I mean, at one
You
point,
do
there was a
realize
10-person
that if
gathering.
more people have that same mentality, that's what causes like the second wave to happen, though.
Could, but the second wave is going to happen regardless because you've already seen pictures and videos and news reports of the idiots in Colorado that are having a beach party with 300 people. And you saw the beaches in Florida are reopening, all that stuff's reopening. It's going to happen no matter what. You can't
Yeah.
stop it. You can only slow it down. And you can sit in your basement and in your house and never leave for 18 months or so until vaccine's out, and then another 6 months until it's widely distributed if you want. I'm just choosing not to. And the people that I'm hanging out with, I've also chosen not to. So if any one of them had an objection, it wouldn't happen. But I mean, it's impossible. It's going to be worse for people if they just stay inside completely. But if you're smart about it, you can do little things. Just don't be stupid.
I don't want to argue, but how is it going to be worse for people if they stay inside and don't allow themselves to get infected? How is
because
that possibly going to be worse?
you don't think
Well-
that there's going to be any kind of mental issues and depression and suicide and marriages broken up or abuse for people holding up for 2 years?
So
I
Okay,
see what you're saying, Pete, but I think this thing has to. This disease is going to be around for a while, and eventually, we have to get exposed to it to get immune to it.
But no,
You know.
they've shown that you don't get immunity from being exposed to it.
Or a tolerance to it. It's just like the flu.
Mm-hmm.
You know, although it mutates and varies, but eventually we just build up immunity to it. Not necessarily immunity, but a tolerance.
Yeah. Like what
It's-
they showed in the last testing results, they said that a good percentage of the people that were infected did build up antibodies against it. Now, of course, if it mutates, that won't make a difference. But if it doesn't mutate, but then again, the flu mutates. So that's why there's no permanent vaccine. Even if you get a flu shot, you can still get sick because if it mutates to a strand that's not covered by the vaccine, you still get sick. So, at this point, it's a crapshoot regardless of which way you go. And yes, it's probably statistically safer if everybody stays inside, but you're talking 0.01%. The statistics aren't that big either way on the swing. That's going to say that if you stay inside, you're not going to get it because you could just as well get it when you make that one trip every 2 weeks to the grocery store as you could going to your friend's house.
I have my groceries delivered. So
Yeah, see, I'm with Pete.
Who
I never
delivers
felt
it?
safe.
Somebody who's in a completely sterilized suit?
Yeah.
Or are you grabbing a bag of groceries within 10 minutes of a guy dropping it off? You're in just as much risk as if you touch somebody at that point.
Okay.
Unless you have 6 months worth of groceries, anything that comes into your house could potentially have it on it. They said it sits on 48 hours on cardboard. Are you not touching boxes 48 hours after they get delivered?
Actually, the most recent thing CDC has just released that the contagion rate for things left on a substance is actually much less than what they originally thought.
Like what?
Well, I mean, because all of the people that are like the CDC is a bunch of liars. People came out of the woodwork to
there's
say
80 different variations of what is what. I mean, it depends on which news channel and which agenda is being broadcast. I mean,
well, I mean, I guess I would just I guess you have to decide if you believe the CDC or not. I guess that's I don't. I mean, you do you. I just want you to be safe. And
I am. I'm not doing stupid stuff. I am home inside my house 6 3/4 days a week, and for 3 hours I go over to Weekly with me and him, and occasionally one or two other people, all of which are also home 6 3/4 days a week. And the only time we go out is for groceries and this one gathering we do every couple weeks. So, and we just started it. So we've only just started it this last week. So I feel like that has minimized me as much as I'm willing to be minimized at this point after being sequestered for 3 straight months.
I can see both your sides. With me, I never felt safe with this because Jen's essential. So
Yeah,
I figured at some point we probably both exposed to this.
I agree as well. My wife is essential and my son works at a grocery store. I have just as much risk getting it at home than I do going out.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're being smart and we take our temperatures if we're going anywhere. And even before I go to the game night, I take my temperature. Do I have a fever? No. Do I have felt bad? No. And then I go with it. And granted, it can sit dormant for 2 weeks, but I mean, there's nothing you can do about it if you've got it and don't know it and it's not, you have no symptoms. I mean, like the guy dropping your groceries could have it and you don't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But I can see Lance's point though.
sure.
And we were out today. We went to Lowe's and BJ. It's like Sam's Club. It's a wholesale thing to stock up on some shit. And I wanted to try and drive it, so I said, "Jeff, just find an empty parking lot. We're in a fucking lockdown. It couldn't be that hard, right?"
Mhm.
Boy, was I fucking wrong.
No, everything's open.
You know.
No, everything is reopened. Like South Carolina is almost completely back to reopen. They're at lower percentages. Like restaurants, stores are all at like 20 or 30%. I think restaurants next week will open up to 50%. I don't think they'll ever be back to 100% until vaccines out, but things are open. There are things that even with them being open, I'm not going to do. Not going to go out frivolously shopping. I'm not going to go get a haircut, even though they've reopened this week. I'm not going to go, probably dine in anywhere for a while. It's going to be the same thing. We're going to be cooking at home. We're going to go grocery shopping. We're going to get essential paper goods if the grocery store doesn't have it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
My wife's transitioned to work from home because her clinic patients are high risk, so they're not allowed to go to their clinics. They're doing everything virtually until this vaccine's ready. So, my son though, he works 8 hours a day in a grocery store and comes home. So he's at the most risk in our family.
Yeah.
He's young, so he's not really at risk, but he could certainly be a carrier. But I mean, like I said, everyone does do what you feels best. I don't begrudge anyone for staying at home, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to be begrudged for going and doing something once in a while, especially taking all the precautions I can.
We're both in the agreement, however, that like if everybody just does what they think is best, people can partake in dangerous behavior that could actually cause like health problems for other people. Because
Yeah.
I'm doing what I think is best. I mean, is if that person's a complete nut job, a-hole like person. I mean, I just I don't know. It's just take care of yourself. That's all. That's where I'm going to go with that, and then we're going to change our subject. So. I hope Aldi comes on because I want to talk to him about how BGG Conline. I see he's in the thing there, so I hope.
And Gen Con cancellation, that all happened since last week.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
We did, but we didn't know when. I'm surprised it happened so quick because for the longest time we figured it was going to be a last minute thing for them to not lose insurance money and convention payments and all that. But it must have just gotten to a point where they just couldn't hold out any longer because people were giving them such grief because it was a pretty sore subject for publishers as well as the people who had to make arrangements to go if it was.
Well, I mean, you have to think it was a. I mean, admittedly, when I say have to, I don't know if this is the case or not. So don't. I'm not speaking from like insider knowledge here.
Written in stone what he says.
No, it's like for me, it's like it was more or less likely like, can they cancel? What's the point that they cancel, right? And so they can get their money back from the convention center or whatever, So it's like I'm sure it was a financial situation. I'm sure they knew. I'm sure they knew forever that we're not.
I would think they would have lawyers that would say, this is where you're liable and this is where we can get out of it, or here's our loophole. I mean, if they didn't, then they're not doing it right, considering how much money that investment is, I'm sure. So I'm sure they figured it out, and I'm sure that they wanted to wait because maybe they were hoping things would change. You don't want to pull the trigger too early. Like a lot of people may have thought Essen pulled it too early because their show wasn't still for another 4 or 5 months. But, I can understand why, and I'd be honest, I'm glad. I think gatherings like that would be irresponsible for sure. When you're talking about thousands and thousands of people where you're unable to social distance, it's just not possible. If the show numbers are even close to what they usually would, I don't think they would have been. I think if Gen Con had pushed through, it probably would have been maybe 15, 20,000 people. But even that, considering the show would have probably shrunk down because of the attendance numbers, it still would have been hard to stay distant. I mean,
I saw where several people were talking about how like their Gen Con hotel, they like the Gen like they're I want Forrest to come on because I want to hear what his plans are now that you know his idea is that he was going to go to Essen with his wife. Well, if Essen canceled, I mean, I want to know if if he's still planning on going, if he's still
He
got
said
a
he was
hotel
still going to
room.
go, and they were just going to use it as a trip because it was so cheap for his flight. I think when we
Yeah.
talked about it last time, he said if it cancels, he'd still go and spend a week in Germany because he'd already bought the tickets and it was such a cheap rate that you don't want to cancel because the next time you try to go, it's going to be triple because they're going to be making up for all this loss of income. The prices for flights is going to skyrocket the minute this thing gets to the
Oh
point
yeah.
where travel again. So booking your tickets now for stuff to a year or two from now is a really good idea because these are the lowest rates that we've seen probably in our lifetime. Whether I don't know how far they'll let you book out based on what's going on, but I can't imagine that he could afford to travel to Essen any other time. So if he doesn't go now, because the flight's going to triple, and that $600 flight for him and his wife round trip is going to end up being 1,800.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not sure. I'm actually curious though what's going on with Gen Con now that it's officially canceled for the people that have already prepaid for books, rooms, and stuff. I'm wondering how much of that, if all of it, will be refundable or not. Because doesn't the hotel usually charge a fee if you cancel? And I don't know if they're going to be allowed to charge that fee based on current situations or whatnot. But that's because all that stuff's done, right? I mean, I don't book for me. Our company books for us, so I don't have to do that. But all
Yeah.
that room booking and stuff and paying for had to have been done a while ago, right?
Well, I think like obviously you had the way in the past anyway when people had booked their rooms and what have you. It was before what they would do is that you would get into the portal right at your time
Mhm.
and then you'd be able to secure your room, but then you secured your room but you didn't actually like they didn't take they actually then would move the stuff over to all the different hotels that were
Right.
housing the people. So I mean, don't quote me. I mean, I have no idea how it handles, I mean, I can remember, I mean, back when it was me and Joel Eddy that we roomed together. It was like, we booked our room when we left Gen Con. Like it was like, yep, and then give us the same room next year, and it was like, and that was back when like it was like a week after Gen Con, the portal opened up and we got rooms at like the Hyatt, like right next to the place. Like there was still rooms available. Like that was like, which is unheard of, for that to be the case now. I mean, that just doesn't happen. I mean, it was so weird, when you think about that. But God, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I am guessing that Gen Con's just going to cancel the whole deal. I mean, you've got to get your money back on that. I mean,
Yeah, but the hotels may have a policy of a 20% cancellation fee, and if they're hurting as bad as I imagine they are they going to be easy enough to just give up 100% of that? I mean, granted, they should. It sounds like the right thing to do, but they're also a business that has to stay afloat. Will they?
yeah.
I mean, are they forced to? That, I guess the issue is legally, are they forced to, or are they allowed to if it's canceled even during crisis like this? Do they still get like a 20% or 10% cancellation fee prior to the date? It'd be interesting to know because the Gen Con thing's all done in the Gen Con blocks, so it's all contract negotiated stuff. It's not like just normal room buying because you have to buy it in the blocks. So I guess it all depends on what Gen Con's policy is and if they have insurance to cover all of the loss for all that'll be another big thing. Because if the hotels can claim insurance on this because of national pandemic, then maybe they can get recouped for some of the money they'll lose from all the rooms being canceled.
Well, that's the big thing is the second stimulus package. I mean, that's gonna hit in June into the.
Was it approved? I thought they were still fighting
Well,
it.
no, I mean they're gonna fight about it in June, right?
Mhm.
They're gonna argue about it and try to figure out.
Yeah, the biggest problem I was hearing now on the news today was that the unemployment's staying high, and even with places reopening, their employees aren't wanting to go back to work because they make more money not at work than they do at work. Like they're worried about their health going back to work, and they'd rather just keep getting unemployment for a few more weeks than to go back and be at risk.
Well,
It was,
I mean, that makes complete sense to me. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be all that. I mean, I'm extremely fortunate that I'm able to work from home
yeah, me too.
and do my job, right? I mean, I can't even imagine like, oh, I mean, I've talked about this online and with many people, and I've gotten into very angry conversations with people online about this. And I
I
mean,
mean, if you worked at McDonald's for $11 an hour and you made $200 a week, but you were on unemployment making 200 plus the extra 600, making 800 a week, would you rather be safe at home making 800 a week or at
well,
working in the front lines making 200 a week? I mean, that's rough decision to make, right? I mean,
well, and like, and a perfect example of this is our own Forrest, right? I mean,
mhm,
you know, he is right now he's on furlough or whatever, you know,
mhm.
and he is you know,
Making more money than he's ever made in his life.
yeah, I mean, and you know, and which is, you know, I can understand people saying, well, that's fucking bullshit, you know. I mean, people like they're like, that's, you know, lame and this, that, and the other thing, and welfare state, this now. Okay, I mean, I mean, I understand where people are coming from, but also
Sure.
my opinion is, it's like, yeah, so wouldn't it be nice to not feel like you had to go to work and possibly die? You know, I mean, I get it, those businesses need people sitting there, but I mean, a place like McDonald's, I mean, which, you know, it's whatever. A place like
That's
McDonald's,
probably a bad
they
example. It'd be more like mom and pop shop A that needs to get back and running and needs their employees, but can't pay them what the government's paying them right now. So, McDonald's is a totally different entity. It's a totally different beast, but
yeah, but I mean,
friendly local game
there's
store.
something to that though. I mean,
Mhm.
McDonald's needs people too. I mean,
They know they do. Yeah, they got the coffers to pay their employees, though. They probably shouldn't have laid off in the first place. They could have probably figured out a way to pay their employees and deep clean and renovate the restaurants during this. Take advantage of the time. Although restaurants are a bad example because they've all been busy during this because they're the bite squads and all that stuff. But like friendly local game store A, they had to lay off all their people because they couldn't have gaming nights and couldn't have people in their stores. Are paying those people $9 an hour, $10 an hour. Well, these
mhm, mhm.
kids are getting laid off and now making $600-700 a week. It's tough to say, hey, I want you to come back in and schlep board games for your $180 to $220 a week, uh, instead of for the next, because it's a tough decision. If I was 20 years old or 18 years old working at a game store and got laid off and then started getting the kind of money that these kids are getting now, it'd be really hard for me to want to go back to work and be put out at risk and cut my pay basically by 80%. I mean, they've put people in a tough position. I don't think there's a good or bad answer. I mean, yes, people need to get back to work at some point when it's safe, but if they don't feel it's safe, but they're forced to come back or lose their job, that's a really shitty position to put someone in.
Yeah, I mean that's, yeah, that is an extremely shitty situation to be forced to be part of, and I mean, somebody very eloquently said, it's like we're having to make decisions, you know, about about the economy versus well-being, you know, and I mean, that's
But it's not always as cut as dry in that either because there is a small percentage and not nearly as big. I definitely agree with you there, but there is a small percentage of well-being that is tied to the economy as well, and tied to people, being quarantined. It's the things that we don't necessarily think of are going to happen. People that are not mentally well and that need to get to groups and therapies and stuff that aren't allowed to do that anymore. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of repercussions we're going to pay for the long quarantine 2 and 3 years from now that we just aren't seeing now. And so even when this is over, it's not going to be over because when the vaccine's out and everyone's back and this thing is in our rear view mirror and we're just getting small cases from people who either didn't choose to vaccinate or whatever, because that's going to happen too. But there's going to be stuff down the road mentally, that are going to affect people for a long time. Marriages that'll get broken up over this, families that will get torn apart, friendships and stuff. I mean, it's we're not out of the woods. This is going to
well,
linger for a long
okay, but
time.
and I didn't want to go with this route, but I mean, so what? We just, because there's a possibility of problems in the future, we don't do anything about it now.
No,
I
I
mean,
didn't say that. I'm just saying we're not over when it's over. Like when the vaccine comes out and we all get vaccinated, this isn't over. We're going to be dealing with this pandemic for years past when things are done. Like if everyone thinks, oh, everything's just going to turn on and be back to normal once we get a vaccine, they're wrong, because the ramifications from the economy as well as mental welfare and well-being are going to be things we're going to be dealing with for years to come. So when this vaccine does hit and become widely available, we're still looking at a couple years of recovery time due to all the damage that's been done already from everything. You think New York's just going to pick right back up and get back on their feet? I mean, they are going to be probably the worst off of most states, with the mass amount of people that have either fell on economic or mental distress or hardship. I mean, vaccine could come out today and New York is still going to be years from getting back to where it was before this. So I'm not saying we don't change the course. I'm just saying that when this is over, it's not over. Everyone keeps saying, well, we'll just, when the vaccine comes out, everything's going to be good again. It's not going to be good again. Not, I don't think we bounce back as quickly as some people say we do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
No one
That's the only
does.
thing I know.
No one does. That's the problem. We don't have, this is the one solution we don't have an answer for. Like what will happen in our industry? A lot's happened to our industry already. We've already kind of talked about how we feel like a lot of retailers may not come out on the other end of this. Well, that's going to change the landscape of our industry as a whole. Some publishers won't come out on this. I mean, our industry will be completely different in 2 years from what it is now and what we used to know of it. I mean, things are going to change. There's going to be a lot of companies that don't make it, a lot of retailers that don't make it. Some are going to get stronger, some are not. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, so much stuff has happened in such a short time. I don't know that we can all digest it that quickly.
Doom, gloom.
I don't know that it's all doom and gloom, but it's not bright and sunny. I mean, it's hard to be bright and sunny. I mean, there's a little bit of hope and light that pops in and out, seeing some of the good things people have done during this to step up and show they care about fellow man. But there's also been a lot of stupidity. I mean, shit, you could write a book on all the stupid shit that's happened in Florida in the last 2 months. I mean,
well, it's Florida. I mean,
it's always Florida. I know. I lived in Florida. I lived in that crazy for 37 years. It's ridiculous. I mean, they were doing shit 2 months ago that some states are just now reopening back up to. I mean, Florida is Florida. It's always been where all the crazy people go to retire.
We'll be fine.
Gloom. Oh, sorry.
We've been through this throughout history.
Yep.
There's going to be some dark ages, and we'll bounce back.
Yep.
We have been ahead some
the dark ages
from World War II till recently, where nothing really happened. But.
Yeah, that's true. There was someone who posted that in the short lifespan of people that were born in 1900, that people that were born in 1900, by the time that they were in their 60s, saw over 100 million people die off this planet because they went through World War I, World War II, the Great Depression, the Korean War, Vietnam War. Yeah, I mean, all of that stuff that happened in their lifetimes, they saw so many people die of non-natural causes because of all the wars and poverty and stuff that they went through. That it was a whole big thing. Like, if you think it's bad now, it was much worse from 1900 to like 1975 or whatever than hopefully it will be for us that are dealing with this.
Yeah. So somebody wants to know how your woodworking is going.
How's your wood, Barry?
My wood is fine. I spent a lot of time looking at wood. I actually do. I spent a lot of time looking at wood grain and sand. But right now I'm in the process of making a screen door, and then I'm going to make a door to go from the shop into the house. I want to make a solid door. There's only a hollow corridor there. And then I want to start making a gift for somebody. And I'm still trying to figure out some details in my head before I do a prototype in pine. And then if I could ever get to a fucking hardwood store, I'd buy some hardwood.
Your wife was telling me the same thing.
Yeah. It's like I wanted a neighbor of ours was a Marine and he died recently. I wanted to make him a shadow box, but I went to look for wood. I can't get the hardwood dealers are closed, so I go to Lowe's and Home Depot, and I like Lowe's better than Home Depot when it comes to wood, but even theirs wasn't that great. So I figured, all right, I'd buy some oak. Then I needed some like velvet or something for the back. Yeah,
Oh, this is beautiful. What is it? Velvet?
I can't find fabric. Jen was looking for something too. She wanted to make commanders or something. It's like just shit you don't think of that was always there before. You know, you just can't find really this too much anymore.
Hmm. So the fun continues, is what you're trying to say.
Yes, that was the game I played. How to make a screen door.
The game I
It's-
played was much more fun than that.
Yeah. No, I enjoy it. It's a lot of it's getting the muscle memory back in my hands. They're not there to begin with, but I haven't done a lot of this in like 10 or 15 years. Yeah, with the train, it was like
God, there's just so many phrasings here. You know, just like, I haven't done something. I guess I gotta get the muscle memory back. I haven't done anything like this in 10 years. Ah.
Yeah.
I'll show myself up.
Okay, it's fun though.
It is fun.
Well, of course, playing with your wood is always fun.
Ah.
I enjoyed it. I always
But it's always more fun if you have someone there to help you.
yeah. No, it's. I didn't realize until I started working with it again. Like, I took shop in grade school, and that was fun. But in high school, carpentry was the only thing I was technically trained to do, and that was in high school. I took 3 years. That was my major, and it always impressed me how I could go to a job site and there'd be nothing but concrete footings there, and by the time I left, there's a shell of the house. And usually that was in 3 or 4 weeks. You know, it's just there's like I guess it's self gratifying. You know that there's something from nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, creation is cool.
Yeah. But I'm
So-
looking forward to get back into fine woodworking. Any monkey could frame.
Tell everybody about you. Can you tell us like, so have you played, even was there a demo for Manhunter or anything like that, or you just
No,
assuming
no
it's
demo
gonna be
Maneater.
awesome?
I didn't go to E3. That was the only time a demo was available. I've just been watching YouTube and been on the official Discord channel, so I've been seeing all the dev diaries and all the gameplay stuff of it. So it's exactly what you would expect from a cross between Grand Theft Auto 5 and Jaws Unleashed. It's basically a hybrid. It's a RPG, so you level up your shark from pup to great elder, or even meg. I think they said meg is the last stage where you become like a 30-foot shark and you terrorize the place. But you basically level up, and different types of aquatic life and people you eat give you different nutrients, and those nutrients can be saved up and spent to basically evolve your shark into different forms. Like you can evolve your sonar to be stronger, or your hit points to be sturdier, or whatnot. And you can even get specific evolutions like a hardened shell, so you can like ram stuff better, and or electrical like eel type electricity. So when you bite stuff, it shocks it and stuns it. So you can evolve and level up your shark over the course of the story. The story is supposed to be around 12 to 15 hours worth of content, but then the open world collectibles and side missions and apex predators you want to fight and stuff, then you can get 40 hours plus of gameplay out of this game, plus whatever DLC. If the game does well, there'll be tons of DLC. They've already got a team working on downloadable content for the future updates and stuff. So it's basically like it's like the best parts of like Red Dead Redemption 2 and or Grand Theft Auto mixed with like Jaws Unleashed. So super excited. Should be fun. It's only $29 if you buy it on PC. It's like Amazon's got it for like $30 if you buy it there. It's like 39 at like Best Buy and Target and all that. So yeah,
Sharks don't have sonar.
Yes, they do. They have the
Yeah.
ampules of Lorenzini.
They're
The
straight.
That's not sonar.
well, it's
Sonar
very
is
like sonar. It enables them to detect movement and whatnot in the water. They can detect a drop of blood in like 1 million gallons of water. So it's probably better than sonar.
Most likely.
yeah. Okay. I mean, and I know you and I are both shark people. So like sharks can detect a single drop of blood in 1 million parts of water or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. That's neat. Whatever. With all the gobbledygook and garbage in the ocean, what? I mean, you'd have to think it's just like what was that? Oh no, I guess so. What was it over there? No.
Well, I'm sure that there's definitely a lot of things that can impede their stuff, which is probably why the deep water sharks tend to be more accurate and precise in attacks because they're less pollution out in the deep ocean than there is against the shore. But then again, the shore can cause problems because they can have chemicals and things in the water that give them that false sense, which can bring them in closer and put them in interaction with humans. So if it wasn't as much crap in the water, then maybe they wouldn't be as close to shore because they wouldn't feel like there's prey items, people's garbage or food that gets in the water, gives out the scent. Someone drops a piece of meat or a burger or a hot dog in the water, and all of a sudden they think it's a prey item and come in and it's not moving, but the guy standing next to it is. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of things get in the way of that, but I mean, it's still pretty damn accurate. They've done plenty of tests to show how crazy accurate it is to get them to locate distress, the heartbeat. They can detect a heightened heartbeat in people. It's crazy.
Billy Connolly, the actor slash comedian, uh, said that he was gonna go snorkeling or whatever, and he was worried about the like they're in Australia, and he mentioned about the sharks, and then he said that the dive instructor guy said to him, well, I mean, he's like you don't have to worry, sharks don't like the way we taste, and he said, well, the problem is after he's taken 3 bites out of me, he's
There's not much
decided,
left.
yeah, he's like, if he decides he doesn't like the way I taste, I'm in 3 different bits. I mean, he's like, that's not reassuring at all. I thought that was funny. But
But
yes,
this will be a nice distraction this weekend for sure. I get it. Like I said, it comes available on my Xbox tomorrow night. I'll be playing it probably straight through the long weekend until Tuesday.
just like close the no calls, just close the door.
Basically, I agree. Me and my wife already discussed it, and she said this weekend is all you. So I get to. I got Friday off of work, and then we got Monday off for Memorial Day. So I will be working tomorrow. And when I get off at 5, I'm gonna hang out with the family. We're gonna have a nice dinner, play some Switch with my daughter. But 8 o'clock hits. It's me till 12, 1 o'clock, and then I'll get up first thing Friday morning, come down to the basement, and just grab a bag of Doritos and some water and sit down and play all day.
Taco flavored Doritos.
I'm out of taco flavored Doritos actually. All I have is regular ones. I need to order more, but unfortunately none of the stores here have it, so I have to order them on Amazon. And I was trying not to like just buy stupid shit on Amazon, so I haven't bought them in a while. But yes, I'm out of the taco flavored Doritos. I do need to buy some.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is good stuff. Like I say, I'm expecting to have a lot of fun. I hope I have a lot of positive things to say. I was doing Jason Brenner's podcast yesterday, and we talked about Maneater. It was a Jaws spectacular he wanted to do, so we did a full like 2 hour deep dive on Jaws 1 through 4, and we talked about Maneater a little bit in the beginning and at the end of the show. So he has trepidation. He's worried that this will be all hype and no substance type game. He's hoping he's wrong. I'm really hyped, so I'm worried it won't live up to my expectation because if this game is seriously coming at the right time to just give me something to think about other than world events. So I'm really hoping that it lives up to the hype because it's been what I've seen. It looks amazing. So exactly how I would build a shark game. So we'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, there haven't been too many good shark themed games. I mean,
Nope. You got Jaws Unleashed, which is pretty old. I mean, I was just playing it on my computer. I've still got my discs for Jaws Unleashed. I played it on the computer this week a couple nights just to kind of get in the mood for Maneater. Outside of that, you've got the old Atari Jaws game. and a couple like Jaws. There was a Jaws game for the Wii. It was like a kind of like a Jaws Unleashed kind of game, but for the Wii. It was called something else though. That's about it, really. Like I can't think of any other like where you get to play the shark and just do shark stuff. I mean, and even in the original Nintendo Jaws you Nintendo Jaws, you didn't get to play the shark. You played everybody.
Well, there was the Jaws 4 Revenge game where you actually had to hit the button to get the shark to come out of the water and then stab it.
That was the Nintendo Jaws one. You had to get the boat and time it right to stab the shark. Yeah, it was based off of the Revenge.
No, that was not a good game.
Jaws Unleashed was much better. It was a fictitious, like what happens like 10 years after the events of Jaws, the mayor gets this corporation to come into Amity and build this research facility, and Michael Brody becomes the head shark researcher, and you happen to be the shark. You're playing as Jaws, and that was open world. It's kind of a lot like Maneater. It was open world. You could do whatever you want, and you could progress the story when you wanted, or you could just swim around doing shark stuff. So I was actually having a lot of fun playing Jaws Unleashed this week. It was fun to actually play. I hadn't played my discs in years, and I reinstalled it and had to do a few things online to get it to run on a normal computer because it's dated way before the tech that we have now. So, but luckily there's some downloads you can do to fix it to get it to run. So I was able to get it to run, and it's had fun. It actually holds up pretty well. Like if it had modern, a little bit better graphics, and the controls and stuff were pretty good. So it's a pretty solid game. I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, remind me after Richard Ham gets here, because I do want to I want to ask him for sure, because he's kind of smart when it comes to old computer games. But there's two old computer games. I think I played them on the Apple II, and I've been trying to remember the names of them, because if you go to there's a few websites like Home of the Underdogs and stuff like that allow you to download the old games.
I wish my arcade was up and running. I could search for you because I have the entire Apple IIe library on my arcade machine, but the guy's doing an update for me. They just updated their software and added like another 1,200 games. So he's got my hard drives right now. So
just it. I don't remember the name of the game.
But if you could explain it to me, I could cycle through, because the library, while big, is not big enough that I couldn't cycle through it. If you told me what the game did and what it looked like, I could probably find it. Because it's basically puts the hyperspin system my arcade system uses is basically like a wheel, and it just puts all the titles on the wheel, and you just push down on the stick and it just spins through. So and each time you hit stop at one, it pops up a screen of like gameplay for like a few seconds, like a loop. So I can see, if you could even explain what the game would look like or played like, I could probably find it pretty quickly for you once I get my hard drives back. But they're not coming back.
Well, I'll mention it here, and then maybe the Kabuki can, or anybody else for that matter. Not that it's only going to be Kabuki, and then we can bring it up if we can't figure it out. So there were two games that I remember playing on my buddy's Apple II, and
I'm going to pull up. Let me pull up my the database for my arcade is on the company that built its website. I'm going to pull it up and see if I can try to find it as well.
And neither of these were like strategy games. They weren't like Twitch, playing the type of thing kind of games. So that's where I think that might not help you figure it out. So one of the games was based on a
you said Apple II?
Yeah, if I can remember, he had an Apple IIc or an Apple IIe.
That's fine. It's all Apple II. I've got the full library right in front of me.
So one of the games, one of the games was a game that was all about like ancient Greek mythology, and you got to pick like one of the heroes. Like you could pick to be Hercules. You could pick to be Theseus. You could, there were all these different, and then each one of like the things, and like each one of the characters you picked had a like specific like process or thing they had to do to win. Like if you were Hercules, you had to do the 7 challenges or whatever, of Zeus, to prove that you are the son or whatever. I can't remember it to save my life. The other one was a game about like space exploration, and you would go from like planet to planet, and like I remember like the only thing I remember about to interact with the game, you would pick like A B C D E, like you would pick a letter to choose what you wanted to do, but there was also this big giant book, and it would say turn to paragraph 27, and you'd read that part of the paragraph to like learn like what was going on in the game, and I can't remember the name of that either. No, I wasn't elite. It was definitely a more like kid friendly type of game.
Space Quest.
No, because it was all text. It was very much text based.
There, I mean, there's a lot of games. I didn't realize there was this many for the Apple II. There's 11 pages. Each page has like 40 games on it. So there's 400, 500 games for the Apple II.
Yep, Return of Heracles. They got that one right.
Oh, nice. That's the Greek one.
That's the Greek one.
Okay. Well, let me see if it's on my arcade, because if so, I'll take pictures of it when I get it back, and you can confirm it. Return to.
I just googled.
Yep, Return to Heracles is on the system, so I'll show you some pics of that when I get my hard drive back.
It was a really weird game.
So it was space exploration, but text based.
It was text based, and like there was an overarching thing where like there was like you had to like leave your planet and go explore, and there was like it was kind of very open sandbox, like, oh, I'm just gonna go travel here and there and this way and that way, but eventually like there was like some big giant like there was the big bad guy and his big bad ship that eventually you had a certain amount of time to make your ship powerful enough to stand up to that ship when you eventually ran into it and had to defeat it. Yeah, I can't well, thank you for the Return of Heracles. I remember playing that. I remember playing Theseus was great because you would get his magic armor and magic sword like almost right away at the very beginning of that game. That was a fun way to play. Oh, thanks, Paul. Greek Heroes Apple II. Well, Paul, you know what, Paul, your wife cheats at board games. Your wife hate drafts in board games. Yeah, everybody's just Google fooling up like crazy. Nobody's like trying to like search their mind for the answer here.
Most of these people weren't even born when this system was out.
You shut your mouth. Let's see. Let me see if I can Google fool it up here. Let's go. Apple II.
Space text open game, maybe, or something like that.
Apple II space exploration game with paragraph book. Star Saga, perhaps? Yeah, I'll pull this up and see what it says. Star Saga 1. Star Saga 1 is first short-lived. Last space of the reckon, blah blah blah. The question of 9 worlds. Galactic fringe, space shuttle. Beyond the boundary. This doesn't sound like it, but I'd have to see it.
Yeah, Star Saga is the first one that popped up for me too.
Yeah, 6 colored. This might be it, because it says both single player and multiplayer hot seat options are available. Because I remember me and my buddy Mike used to play it. Yep, the second title expands our books to 14 with over 50,000 individual paragraphs. Yep, that is absolutely it. It's Star Saga.
Yeah, if you go to the Star Saga wiki, it shows a picture of the box. Star Saga 1, Beyond the Boundary, and then there was Star Saga 2.
Yeah.
If you
the
look
Star
at
Saga 2 says the Clathrin Madness, and that's totally it.
Cool.
In this title,
There you
a
go.
gigantic armada of alien ships scours the galaxy, seeking to eliminate any and all sentient life. Players must quickly explore the accessible reaches of space, hoping to uncover technology with which to oppose this threat. The game background.
Let me see if I have those on here. Star Star Saga.
The big thing with that is you'd have to have the paragraph books.
Yeah, that's why I may not have it. I'm looking now to see if it's on here. There we go. Star Wars, Star Adventure.
And I remember I was
No, I don't have Star Sagas are not on there. Probably because it would need the books in order to be able to work. So yeah, I don't have Star Saga 1 or 2 on my machine.
Sorry, Aldi, we were busy. Oh, here, admit.
Yeah, Aldi.
And admit. Look at this. We even have a Richard Ham. We have a wild Richard Ham showing up. Look, I had a computer game based question, and Richard could have excelled with his knowledge of old school. Computer games.
Have you been watching, Richard? Did you already hear the answers? Because if not, you could still ask them.
What are the answers?
There you go. Ask him the question since we know what the answers are, and see if he can get it. Give him the challenge.
I accept your challenge, whatever it may be.
So I was thinking of old Apple II games I used to play.
I fail at your challenge. I didn't have an Apple II.
Well, there you go.
I had Texas Instruments 99.4A. So I can tell you all kinds of useless trivia about that.
Well, you knew the name of that old adventure game.
Yes, it was a Texas Instruments TI 99.4A game. That is why I'm the only person you will ever meet in your life who might have known that. I was the only one whose parents bought themselves a TI 99.4A instead of a freaking Commodore or a freaking Apple, like everybody else, like Aldi, like you, like all of you.
So I remember growing up, I had the Commodore. I had a few buddies.
I had a Commodore 64.
I had a few buddies.
I wished I had a Commodore.
That's where the games were.
There are a few buddies that had an Apple II, and there were there were games on the Apple II that I wished that
Wasn't Space Taxi on the Apple II? My friend had Space Taxi. I thought he had an Apple II. Maybe he had a Commodore VIC-20.
And I had the one friend who had the IBM.
I never knew anyone with the IBM. All my friends either had Apples or Commodores.
My one friend with the IBM had Zork, and we played Zork every day.
Oh, that's like the best game on there, right?
For like a year.
Yeah, that was one of the better games.
It kept our attention.
Wow.
And there was no cheats. There was no cheats, so you just had to figure it out.
A game without cheaters? What's that?
I told my story a while ago how I was at a LaBelle's which if you don't so the best department stores, they had a branch called LaBelle's. It was LABELLES. It was this department store that was maybe a quarter mile from my house, and me and my buddies would ride bike over there just to kind of go look at the toys and whatever, and we'd look at the Atari 2600 cartridges or whatever, and we would but I was in there once, and I saw there was in the computer section, under the glass case, along with the different computer games that were in that glass case, it was this book. And it was I don't remember what I can kind of remember the picture of it right now, but it was like the your guide to the adventures of Infocom or whatever, and it was walkthroughs.
It had the Invisiclues.
No, it didn't even have the Invisiclues.
It didn't have the thing with the pen.
It was straightforward.
Straight up cheat.
It was Zork 1, 2, and 3, Deadline, Witness, the Planetfall,
Starfall, Planetfall.
Yeah, Planetfall, Starfall, which everybody kind of nobody liked Starfall because it was just Starfall was boring.
Mess.
Yeah, it was
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But I remember, and then I was.
These are all the things I dreamed of while reading Compute magazine.
Exactly.
And having to type all my own games in by hand.
I remember.
Oh my God.
I remember. I was and the book was $9, which was
like $1 million.
Yeah, that's like a $1 million game back then.
It might as well have been $1 million jillion dollars. But I remember I biked home, and I mean the whole bike ride home, I had this image of it being sold, but before I could get back there,
someone's gonna come buy it before I get back.
Yeah, and I remember
no.
I biked home and I was I had already planned my process of how I was going to convince my mom that she had to buy me this book, and and like what sort of like gardening
promises you had to make.
promises I would have to give, but she, bless her heart, it took maybe 5 minutes to explain to her that I really, 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 really needed it. And yeah, she went it. And I remember like, cause I was stuck in Zork. I was like, I couldn't, I had collected all kinds of treasures and stuff like that. And, but I still had not figured out that you were supposed to put the treasure in the trophy case. And so I'd be wandering around and like the thief would show up and kill me or
steal all your
like,
stuff.
Or steal all my stuff, and you couldn't fight the thief because you weren't strong enough to fight him yet.
Yeah.
But if you put the treasure in the trophy case, it would level you up and you'd get stronger, and then you could fight the thief, and like defeat him. It was
So we found a map in a magazine to Zork. And I think I like just tore the page out, like the scoundrel that I was.
Oh my God, Aldi! For shame.
Who had any money?
Shame.
Nobody had money. I didn't have millions of dollars walking around. I couldn't buy a $2.99 copy of.
Yeah, you had to save up that 75 cents for the circular comic book rack down at the local 7-Eleven.
That's right. Yeah. No, I bought plenty of those. But yeah, we grabbed the map, and the map was a godsend because it would show things that we hadn't been to yet, and like. Kind of, you could kind of infer how to get there from the map, right? Which was so cool.
Well, I remember like, yeah, there are all kinds of like little goofy things in there that you,
there was all kinds of crazy stuff. We're like, you can get past the gate because we thought, we're never gonna figure out how to get past the gate, one of those gates or whatever. And we're like,
well, yeah, there was the gates of hell, right?
Yeah,
and like
gates of hell.
you had to like there was some word
you had to like light a candle.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You had to. What else?
It was light the candle, ring the bell, and
something else. What was that?
Oh, wasn't there? You had to read from the book.
Yes,
so that sounds right. And then like and the like demons of hell like started screaming louder and louder as and then when you finally like rang the bell, like everything quieted down
or something. Yeah.
And then you could open the gate and go in and take the crystal skull.
And when we figured out how to control the dam level, that was like another huge breakthrough.
Oh, the dam.
Yeah, you could raise and lower the dam. Like that was up to.
That was the only way to get the platinum bar. You had to like lower. You had to lower all the water down because that platinum bar, it was too loud in the room where the water was rushing. So like anything you typed in would just like you were
garbled. Yeah, because it was water rushing. Yeah.
So then you had to lower the water all the way down, and then you had to raise the water all the way up, and then you had basically if you raced in there, you could grab the platinum bar before the noise happened. But if you were still in there when the water came rushing back in, it would kill you. The sound of the thing. So you had to race in, grab the platinum bar, and leave.
Yeah. You had like one move.
Yeah, and leave.
Like things that it was such a breakthrough when we figured like, things you do in this room affect the other room.
Yeah.
Right. And you had to really pay attention to see that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was. I mean, no,
it was like a year.
I mean, think about that. Infocom made games that without pictures that people just.
Oh, we obsessed over it.
People lost their minds.
We would talk about it and like think about it and try a million things. I mean, I can remember just sitting there hunched over that stupid. It was one of those IBM like PC XT with the 2 drives built into the monitor, so it was like a big monstrous thing, like with the 2 floppy drives, and they had 2 flop, which was a deluxe.
Yeah, that was the deluxe. You didn't have to flip the. You
didn't have to like put in. Yeah, you didn't have to swap the floppy.
Yep.
Crazy.
I remember my buddy Skip got somewhere like somehow, I don't even know. I mean, somebody had to get it first, right? I don't know who did it, but somebody somewhere somehow got a hold of the very first like how to copy the disc. You like it was like called. I mean, it was just a like easy copywriter or something like that, and like and
easy,
like yeah, nobody. I mean, we would all chip in money because there was like 3 or 4 of us that had Commodore 64s. We'd all chip in money, get the game, and we just copy the game. remember how the floppy disks, you could take a paper punch and just punch the side of it, and then it would become double-sided?
Yep, I do remember that many times. Because we had an Atari 800, I think, and that was a floppy drive based system, and we were just crazy, like copying games like from neighbors, and like my neighbors' kids had it. And I was a kid, so I'd go over their house and be like, "Can I copy this game?"
Well, I remember when Adventure Construction Set came out, and we all lost our minds because we thought that was going to be like the best game of all time. Like, oh, we're able to make all kinds of adventures for everybody else. It's
Did you ever make
amazing. One? I tried, but I mean, it was so much work. It was not so easy much at all. No, it wasn't easy at all. They made it sound, and ultimately it was all. Ultimately, the whole thing was just, you know, it was the same thing. It was just like, oh, okay, it's just you could really deep dive into it and like probably create something really cool, but for the most part, you know, it was just kind of like, oh, you know, just go here, grab this, bring it back to here.
Yeah,
but it was just a different theme for it.
Yeah. There was one game that I was obsessed over, like for a long time. It was like a gauntlet kind of game for the Commodore 64. Do you remember that?
There were several gauntlet type games, and I can think of what you're saying too, totally in my head.
Man, I tell you, if either one of you ever make it down to South Carolina, I don't think I'll be able to get you out of my basement because every game you've mentioned is on my machine.
Ever existence.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I've told my wife about the thing that you have, and she just says no.
You do realize that Hyperspin can be put on a normal desktop computer too if you have the hard drives to run it. You don't have to have the whole arcade rig. I could technically take my hard drive from my arcade and put it in my computer and play all the games on my keyboard and mouse. It's just not going to be as good a control because you won't have the joysticks and all the buttons and stuff, but you can set up Hyperspin on your computer.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind just loading stuff up and having a nostalgia night.
Yeah. I've actually got a 6 terabyte hard drive that I use as a backup drive that I could actually if I connected that to my computer, it would have all the Hyperspin games and stuff. I just have to set all the keyboard settings to mimic or control pad to mimic the keyboard and mouse. You can do Hyperspin for free on your own. I mean, Hyperspin is just a software program that basically lets you, right? Yeah, it's a housing system for emulators. So Hyperspin organizes all the different emulators, and then inside those emulators, you just have to download the games that work with them. So
where would you download the ROMs?
That's the problem.
I know where they are.
Yeah, they are there. It's there. If you're not buying them through a site that is paid for them, then you're pirating them. And that's the problem. That's why
anybody pay for them.
Well, they must, because these guys that build these arcade cabinets can legally sell the systems with all the ROMs. So I'm assuming because they're public and advertising, they have to be doing some kind of licensing agreement with.
I just think no one's caring.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not one that takes
almost all those companies are gone.
Well, that's the thing. Like anything, Apple's still around, but they probably
Apple didn't make
their Apple IIe games and stuff.
Yeah, Apple didn't make the games.
See, look, Richard, you can play these games now.
You'll be bored in like a minute.
Well, that's the problem, right?
They're so nothing. Was there a Star Trek game for the TI-99? I seem to remember something like that.
Yeah, but sometimes that trip down memory lane, Lance, will make up for the fact that the gaming is coming a long way since then. Because every once in a while, I pop on an old Atari game or something on my arcade, and it's like, man, when times were simpler, I would sit and play this game for like 3 hours. But now I may only play it for like 20 minutes before it loses its luster. But it's still nice to go back and feel those little bits of nostalgia here and there.
What was the best game that you played on your T999 there, Richard?
There was the Defender clone. It's Tunnels of Doom, the game that you thought made me an expert on classic computer games. Tunnels of Doom was an excellent random dungeon crawl generator with dudes on a map, tactical battles every time you came into a room, or when you got attacked in. Always. I played that thing to death. I finished many Tunnels of Doom with every possible combination of adventurers. But yeah, there was very little. There was Munchman, KC Munchkin. No, that was on
No,
Odyssey.
that was the Odyssey.
Yeah. Which I also wished I had. I wish I had every single freaking machine
we had
except
the
for the ones I
Odyssey.
had.
Yeah, we had the Odyssey.
Yeah.
I wanted the Atari though. Like my dad had the Atari at his house. My parents divorced for it when I was pretty young. My dad bought an Atari, and I think that was like the only reason I wanted to go. Like, you know, when you're a kid, like,
was it a conscious choice on his part to get your love? Do you suppose?
I don't think so. I don't know.
But,
you know, when you go visit,
really into it, or was he just fake into it?
When you go visit Bachelor Dad, and he has like no food in the refrigerator, you kind of like want to leave right away, right? Like it's not that fun.
So,
but he had
a pool, which was a good draw.
Yeah.
So when I was young and my parents got divorced, and I believe I was 4. I was very young.
That's really young.
Yeah. And so like I have very, like, I've told people this story. I mean, I have like one distinct memory of my mom driving to the house that I used to live in, and her pulling up and like telling me I needed to wait in the car because she had to go talk to my dad about something.
At 4?
Yeah, like, 4. And I was 4 years old, and I remember I was sitting in the car, this blue station wagon, you know, probably bouncing around, and I still remember the blue station wagon with wood paneling on the side. But and one of my friends from like the little, because we lived right next to a school where my dad taught, and so there's a lot of families around, a lot of kids, and another kid that I was friends with, and heaven knows who that kid is or whatever happened to them now, like came over to the car and was talking to me, and he said, I haven't seen, like something along the lines of, I haven't seen you in a while. And I remember telling him my parents got a divorce, and I remember him asking me why, and I remember him saying, well, all they do is argue and fight. And at 4 years old, I remember telling that kid that. But I mean, as far as like me actually like noticing really anything going on, I mean, I just don't have any.
Yeah, at 4 you're barely cognizant.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I mean that's one of my early memories. I don't have many memories of living at that house, but I mean, I remember my brother stealing another kid's soccer ball. I remember coming home from dinner one time, and like there was this girl named Trudy that was like my go-to friend to hang out with. She was a year older than me, and I remember she was sitting on the steps when I came home, and she was like waiting for me to get home so we could go and play. I mean, so I don't remember a lot of those things, but I mean, I've told this story before, but I mean, after the fact, like my dad and I have gone out and we've had big long discussions about like, you know, just, you know, what happened and, you know, my youth. And I mean, just because like, you know, I mean, one day my dad won't be here anymore, and so I've definitely like asked him questions about his life, you know, because he grew up on a farm and what my grandparents are like, just so I know, you know, because one day I won't be able to ask them these questions. But I do remember when my sister and my brother got older, and I was like, you know, 9-10 years old. I remember I used to love weekends at my dad. I mean, every other weekend, my dad would pick me up from school on Friday, and I get to hang out with my dad, and he'd keep me until Sunday morning, and he'd bring me to my church where my mom and my stepfather went to church, and he'd bring me there, and I go to Sunday school, and then right after Sunday school was the 11 o'clock service, and so but my parents went to the 9 o'clock service, so I got to miss actual church. I just would show up for like the Sunday school, the little half hour where you go and like somebody is like, you know, reads you Bible verses or whatever, while the parents sit in the basement of the church and drink coffee and eat donuts, and everybody talks to each other. But I remember like one, that was good because I didn't have to sit through a boring church service, and the other thing was hanging out with my dad was the coolest, because like, yeah, a bachelor's place that doesn't have any food in his fridge. All he'd have, all he had was like Kool-Aid and frozen pizzas. And remember, that's what we'd eat all weekend. I just hang out with my dad.
We had powdered chocolate milk and what's that really nasty brand cereal, like back in the 80s, 70s?
Brand checks or
something like that. The worst.
The worst. That's what it's called.
Imagine that. That was the weekend. It was like powdered milk, which is basically just water.
Yeah.
In cereal. And it just was, I just remember that like very vividly. This sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
My dad
mom
always tells that story too.
yeah, my
He
mom always
remembers.
says like things like, "Oh, I always felt bad that like, you know, like this and other thing." I was like, "Ah, whatever, you know, just what you guys obviously weren't happy." So I mean, it's just
Did your parents stay? Were they together, Richard?
Yes.
Yeah, always
They
together.
stayed together the whole time. Although actually, most they just stayed together for me and my brother. At some point after I moved off to college, they divorced, and then they
Oh.
got back together. And I think they divorced a second time. And at the end, because my dad's not with us anymore, my mom's with us now. They were, I guess, still in each other's lives, but they'd kind of become neighbors because they had a common plot of land with two houses, her house and dad's
Oh,
house.
wow.
And apparently, my brother told me once that my dad referred to her as the woman over there. Is
The mother of my children.
Yeah.
What about you, Pete?
No, my mom got divorced from my dad when I was 2, and I have never seen him.
So
Don't
is
know a
everybody.
single
What
thing
about you?
about him.
What
He
about
took
you,
off
Barry?
when
Oh, wow.
he took off when I was born.
So you had
They-
no father basically growing up.
No, no. My
Married
mom
or-
got pregnant when she was like 16,
Wow.
and there's a couple baby pictures of them together with me, but then they split. He took
So
off.
she was in high school with you.
Yeah, she
Did you
graduated
drop
high
out or did you
school. She
finish?
graduated high school or left high school, had to come back after to finish. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know I'd never met him. But she said I met him when I was 7 once, that she took me back to meet him, but I don't remember it. I remember her taking me to this carnival, and I remember meeting some guy, and he gave me a bunch of movie posters and stuff, but I don't remember.
You
I don't
remember?
really recall the whole thing.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't remember that.
No,
One
because I didn't know
time-
who it was. She didn't explain who it was. She just
Right.
introduced me to this guy, and I didn't even know who he
Is
was.
he still alive?
Don't know. Haven't
I don't
spoken to
care.
him. Never spoken to him.
Yeah.
Nope.
What about you, Barry? Broken home?
Yeah, my
The Broken
father
Home
took
Club.
off-
Yeah.
My father took off a week before my sister was born, so I was 18 months.
Wow, you had abandonment, both of you guys.
Yeah.
And then they officially got divorced. I was like 4 or 5. I vaguely remember going to his house for the last time, and the ugly fucking dogs, them Afghan hounds. So I was 4 or 5 when that happens, and then I tried later. Like there was no contact at all for 10, 12 years, and I tried briefly as a teenager. The first and only time I met him as a teenager. Well, I guess I was 20 as an adult. Didn't go well.
Then essentially, my mom remarried and married him, stayed married to him till he died. And but I had he adopted he was married to 4 different women. My mom was the 4th.
Wow.
He adopted so many kids. Like
Just
I
never
had so
learned.
many stepbrothers and sisters. It's crazy. Which I've not seen any of them since he died, and I haven't seen him way before he died either. It's weird. Kind of a weird family.
Yeah.
My mom was in touch with one of his daughters for a long time because she lived in the city nearby in Florida, but then she sort of went up and disappeared.
My dad has been married 3 times. His second wife, she got cancer and she died. I remember like this is one of those things where it's like the weird, like somehow everything's connected weirdly. One of the very first times I ever went to do any kind of family function with my wife, she was like, "Oh, my best friend is having a Thanksgiving dinner, and then my parents are going to that. So can you come to it? Yeah, sure, whatever." And so we've been dating for like a month, and so I went to this dinner, and I'm just sitting there, and this is her friend, this is her friend's mom, this is her friend's mom's like boyfriend, husband, something. And this boyfriend, husband guy comes up to me and goes, "Lance, it's really good to see you again." And I was just like,
Who are you?
"Who are you?" Right? And he goes, "How's your dad doing?" And I was like, "Okay, you're being creepy now. It's like, my dad's fine. Who are you?" And he says, "My name's Chris Meyerwold. I'm your dad's second wife's older brother." And he's like, "The last time I saw you, you were like this tall." And like, it was like literally like Okay, how's your dad doing?
Well,
I mean,
it is Minnesota. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not that
But no,
many people there.
it was just like, what the heck?
It ain't like Metropolis.
Well, but I mean,
15 million people.
the fact that he he had to have just got the last name, because there aren't a lot of people with my last name, obviously.
Yeah, you wouldn't have looked anything like you would have.
No, but he was just like, nice to see.
I know that name.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that was definitely
how can
weird.
you forget Mixter? I mean, that's like
Mikester, you son of a crap.
Yeah, you always bust my balls. I always say Mixter.
Gotcha.
Mixel.
Yeah.
Mixel Clickster.
He was nice enough to have me on today, and then the last I didn't even I thought maybe
you set yourself up.
He was like, I didn't know Aldi wasn't there, because it's like, I
wasn't on screen.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I'm on, which you know what, I was gonna say good job today, but screw you, because but I mean, no. So I do my thing.
I'll be nice for another hour.
I'm doing my shtick. I'm having a good time talking to
It was
Jeff.
not. It was barely a rip. I mean, it was barely a ribbing.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the disembodied voice of Aldi comes out of nowhere, and I was just like, because Lincoln said something. I didn't even set it up. Lincoln set it up, because
Lincoln, that's right.
I was like, hey, I see my time's almost up, and then Lincoln said, yeah, you used up the 30 minutes really well, and all of a sudden Aldi, that's not really tough for him.
He's not wrong though.
Your demo was great, Lance. You know your shit. I mean,
I made sure to read the rules again one last time before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So are we to the game talking part?
Yeah, we might as well before we start playing Jackbox.
Yeah.
I thought
Reavers of Midgard. Is that the name of it? Yeah.
Yeah, Reavers of Midgard. I mean, I don't actually. You might actually like that, Richard, because there's some dice rolling, but there's no attacking each other.
Right.
There's it's worker placement. You put you and then the other people can follow the action that you choose. There's engine building, where where you have these multiple use cards that you can either use as a leader on your ship, or you can use them for their powers that are on the bottom of the card, and you get to save them, and you get to power up your ship, and your Viking ship gets better as it goes along. And definitely point salad stuff going on at the end, where it's it's just depending upon which things you collect, and then double. Yeah, I actually think you might like it.
I think you should send me the rules. Don't send me the game. You've done that in the past.
Well, I haven't sent you anything from Gray Fox.
Yeah.
Well, I sent you Zoned Out. I sent you Zoned Out, but you looked at the rules first.
Yes.
So you should have. Have you gotten that, by the way?
Of what?
Zoned Out.
Oh, Zoned Out. Oh, geez. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about I'm zoning out at this very second. No. Yes, I do have it. I'll probably play it next month, I imagine.
But just let me know.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not like,
Tom,
why isn't the video done, Richard?
Yeah. Tom was pretty down on it seemed. If I recall
he
correctly.
didn't. No, he thought the game was fine. He just didn't like the way it looked or something. Which
that's weird.
I don't know. I guess.
Yep.
I thought it looked really nice and colorful when it was on this.
Yep, it's on the short list. I suspect the voters will request I film it for next month. It just came in. I'd already got everything set up for this month, so I next month.
Well, hey, you know what? Don't do me any favors. It seems like you're already trying.
Right. So, Aldi, how was your big event? Is he left? No,
he's right there.
He's still here. He's shrouded in he's cloaked in shadow. He's like an assassin. He's like a shark assassin.
Oh,
what?
Just the way your background.
Oh yeah, if I go back just too far, the virtual screen pops in front of my head.
Swallows you up. You need a open shark mouth. So if you back up, you get swallowed.
I have one already. I'm just
have
keeping
one of
this
those?
one because it's the man-eater box cover.
Right. No, it was a good day. I mean, thanks for coming on. I was kind of trepidatious. I mean, it's like we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people running the show all day, every single person in a different location.
Okay. So all the games didn't go to Lincoln then. You had games that went to Beth or whoever else?
No, they all went to Lincoln physically. There was only one game that didn't make it in time, and that was just because of an error in the address.
I mean, I popped in a couple times, and it seemed like I saw Beth talking to people, and I don't.
Yeah, we had
remember who else.
Beth Eric, Steph. Was it Beth, Eric, and Steph? There might have been
All
one more
those
person.
board game geek people, whoever they are, all the little people that do your bidding.
Yes.
They're paying to
So
play.
were they
Your
doing interviews
minions.
with people while Lincoln was just being peace moving guy?
Yeah, they were basically hands, which worked. I mean, it did. I was skeptical. I wanted, so I thought, oh, Lincoln and Nikki will have to be like on the camera and talking, right? Because it's just weird to see hands, disembodied hands, just moving pieces around. But it worked. I mean, it did. And then every once in a while, Lincoln and Nikki would jump in, and if it was like a really simple game, like what did we played Spicy, which looks really fun. They played it, and then they also played the butterfly game, the one from
Elizabeth Hargrave?
25th Century. No, it's they're from Australia. Flutter or something.
Okay.
Which basically has mechanisms from Seven Wonders Duel. But it's so quick. It's like a 2-minute round, and you play it's best of 3. And they had a cool trick taking game too. But they were jumping in for some games when it made sense to play. So it worked.
Cool.
And we didn't have. I had a couple of technical problems, and it was our end. It was Eric's video got choppy every once in a while, and we don't know why, because he has fiber. So it was a hard.
Just because he eats well doesn't mean his internet will work.
I know. Yeah, he's probably got better internet than anybody.
Huh.
But he was just chopping up. I think it was the laptop.
All right.
But we worked it out after the show. We got him. We're gonna do Zoom call-ins now for people who have internet problems, because the system we're using has its own native call-in system.
Which system? It's a Twitch system.
vMix.
Oh, vMix. Okay.
I thought that worked really well for you.
I thought it was great. I was on all day and never saw any problem. Like nothing major. Like, oh, the person disappeared, or they didn't show up on time, or I couldn't get them to connect, or.
Did it go smoother than it did that it does in physical form at the conventions?
Well, we give everybody a half an hour, and it was pretty tight to the half hour. Like we were right up to the half hour on almost every single person. Mm-hmm. So that's a long demo time. We could cover like three times as much in person.
Oh, okay.
Because you can just shuffle them on and off really quickly.
Oh, I see.
But I really like the more in-depth demos, because it gave you more time to kind of absorb the game instead of just like, oh, that looks cool, next.
So those are all going to get chopped up and put on the.
Yeah, they'll get chopped up and uploaded to the Express.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a fun day, and then we had the Brothers Mirth at a game show at the end, which was really fun. It was like we had over, I think it was like 150, 200 people playing.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was fun.
What was your peak viewers? If you know.
You must have lost my.
I have the stats.
To the stats.
To the stats. I couldn't paste it. Peak 732.
Oh, all right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's more than what we get at shows, but I think we're like right around 500 from shows.
So 732 times the Alaboom.
Yes.
Yes. So we had 7,646 uniques and 552 average. Max was 732.
And I'm sorry, do you have a rough comparison? You were starting to.
I'll have to go back and look, because I'm not remembering what we were.
Yeah.
What we were. I mean, I feel it's successful without much hoo-ha,
Uh-huh.
We only started really planning it like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, and it was more effort than it is to do it at a show. Just because all the games had to get mailed to Lincoln. The scheduling was a little weird. We had a tech day, which was like a 10-hour day where people called in to test their tech.
Oh, really? You mean the guests did?
Yeah. We tested every guest last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember Lance talking about that. How he was too much of a pro, so he didn't get to chat or something.
No, we just bullshitted.
Feeling chagrined.
No, and then
he was mistreated.
Come on and get mistreated during the actual thing too. So I mean,
well, you were just being prepared for the ultimate.
We do the worst to the ones we love, right?
Yeah.
You must really love Lance.
I really, so loving. I love him so much. I love him to
Someone has
death.
to. Someone has to.
No, it was good. I mean, I was engaged the whole time. The only problem is I was sitting in a bar stool chair the whole day, and I'm hurt.
Those are
were you
uncomfortable.
like the master of ceremonies for the whole thing? I mean,
No,
I watched the intro, and I saw you.
Yeah, I came on for a minute, and that was my last. I mean, I showed up every once in a while, but I was running basically tech, not the stream, not the cameras.
The behind the
Getting
scenes
everybody
tech.
into the call and out of the call, and like talking to everybody. And I was busy all day.
Oh wow!
Like,
so you were running
it was
the
crazy.
green room effectively.
I was running the green room.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
The champagne room.
Yep, posting some links and running chat and talking to people in chat and green room, and yeah, it was fun.
And were there any surprises? I mean, obviously there were some technical glitches here and there.
Yeah,
but...
Bonacor screwed me on his exclusive news. He told me, he goes, I might drop an exclusive in your. He said might. Fine.
Yeah, but that
didn't.
Why even mention it if you know?
I'm going to announce it next week on my podcast. I'm like, oh, good for you.
Yeah, great for you and your viewers.
Good for you and your podcast. Whatever. It was fine. I know what it is. I know what's coming. I mean, he drops hints all around it, right? Like,
drop a hint.
I think I even know. He even told me about that. So
yeah, he's got loose lips. He's got loose lips.
Mm-hmm.
But
especially when you get a beer.
If you Facebook
little typey thing.
If you Facebook message him, he'll tell you.
Everything was good though. I mean, I honestly was surprised how good it went, because it's so weird. Like, because you have people in one room, another person in another room, asking another person in another room, or and it's all across the country, real-time questions and doing game demos. It's like it sounds hard, right? I mean,
it is
the coordination of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like secret talking, like I could talk to everybody, no one would hear me, like no one outside it wouldn't get broadcast, right?
Yeah.
So it was like in people's ears sometimes. That wasn't awesome, because people like to talk, right? There's barely any air, like during the whole day. Like, I'm trying to waiting for like a gap, because if I talk over them, they won't understand me, right? Because they're talking, they can't.
Meaning because you're trying to say, hey, move the thing.
Hey, move the thing 5 inches to the right. Exactly. Like it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that on-air personalities, they just have to be able to, because the producer's going to talk to them.
Yeah.
But
we made a few mistakes. Like, we were supposed to cut to a slate between each episode, between each person, to give Derek a chance to breathe and get the next person set up. They just rolled right into every next person, and we're like, and Derek's like, oh shit, ugh, and but no, he did it all right. He goes, and when I'm like, why didn't you say anything? Like, we could have changed that from the get-go, right? No, he didn't say anything.
He said there was no air.
Yeah, exactly. It was like there was no space. I'm like, at that point, you just interrupt, right? Like, you just have to.
Yeah.
But,
Eric's not the interrupting kind.
He's too kind. Yeah, he's too
nice.
He's very nice.
He is a sweetie. It's true.
He feels like he's interrupting, and it's like, dude, you have to interrupt if the production is rushing you too fast, right? Like, if you're not ready, just say, hey, I need 2 minutes. Cut to the slate. When we cut to the slate is a loop saying who's up next or whatever.
Yeah.
Then we can all talk amongst ourselves, and no one will hear us.
Yeah.
Right, because the video takes over the sound and stuff. So.
Or at
what
least
do you mean?
hope.
They just kept rolling right into the next thing.
Yeah, they would just roll. They would be like,
who did? I mean,
our,
because you were
the
having
host.
to switch from Beth.
So it's
to
Eric and Beth.
whoever, right?
It was Eric, Beth, and Steph, and like it was just a communication problem. Like, hey, we need to end 2 minutes early and start 2 minutes later, to give us 3 or 4 minutes just to get prepped up for the new caller.
So I mean, what was it? It was that Steph would say, "Right, well, that's great, thanks, Steven. And now let's switch over to Eric." And then boom, you had to switch over to Eric.
Exactly. We would switch to Lance or whatever. Like, Lance is here, he's ready to go, and I'm like, wait, you're like, what? Yep. I didn't know Derek.
And then you were like, he can wait.
He can wait. That guy can wait.
I can interrupt Lance.
That guy.
To be fair, it's the first time
that was just a minor.
Did something like this,
Yeah,
that's a minor thing. And Derek is so good. He's like, I mean, I'm sure he got so swift at doing all the things he needed to do before the next thing that he's like, oh. He goes, I don't have any time to breathe. And I'm like, why? He goes, we're not cutting to the slate. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. But he never said anything till the end of the day. So we're like, okay, well, tomorrow we'll do it.
So what is up for tomorrow?
I will tell you.
Right.
Also, if you didn't go
6 hours of Lance monologue.
Yes.
Stories about my grandma.
And they,
Oh man.
I'm in trouble now, aren't I? I'm in
Hey,
trouble
right?
now.
What the
6
fuck?
hours and he's still gonna get cut off.
So if you go to boardgamegeek.com, boardgamegeek.com/live,
/live.
you'll see the video. It's actually in replay right now. They're doing Traintopia.
I
So you
thought
can kinda
Aldi
see
was
how-
a nice person.
Well, I set him up. I set him up for a home run on that one, and he hit it out of the park.
So if you scroll down, you'll see the schedule for day 2.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Starts with
Pretty
Sarah
cool.
Erickson from Renegade, Succulent, and Space Battle Lunchtime Card Game.
How many days you going, Aldi?
2.
Yeah, 2 is the sweet spot.
I
I
honestly don't think we could do another one because Derek doesn't have any backup. So this isn't one issue. At the live show, all of us know how to run the machine. Not all of us know how to run this machine.
Wow.
I do.
Yeah,
but
it's rough. We
it's
only did 2 days on our virtual expo, and our marketing team was exhausted by the end of it.
You're tapped out. I mean, they're long. It was a long 10-hour day.
Oh, that's right.
Actually,
yes,
he
sorry.
started
Where's the
early.
scene on Virtual Expo? How do we see that?
That one's already done. That happened last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I totally spaced it.
It's
Was
all
it also
it's on our Facebook page. The Come On Expo.
Facebook?
Yeah, we hosted most
something
of it.
worse than fucking Twitch. Great.
Yeah, they did. We're looking at doing it on multiple platforms next time we do it. But
Richard doesn't do.
This one was mostly
stream
hosted on
out
Facebook and
multiple
YouTube.
Yes, I would strongly suggest the you fucking tube.
Yeah.
Face fucking.
Yeah, the
book.
YouTube
No
stream.
wonder I had no idea.
I can't get anybody to go that watch YouTube streams.
Yeah, that's the problem. We got a
It's
lot
weird.
of hits on
I know,
Facebook,
it's-
a lot
it's so
more than
weird.
we would have.
You've like cultivated your live audience to watch you there, and that's really the only place they can watch you, right? So you did it from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've tried to stream on multiple, like
Yeah,
Twitch
no,
and
you've
YouTube.
talked about this before when I complained bitterly about Twitch because Twitch is absolute dog shit in every.
And that's
way.
the same thing with us. I mean, our biggest fan base is our Facebook groups. We've got like 6 different Come-On-based Facebook groups. So being able to link all those together gave us a huge audience for our virtual expo. If we had strictly done it on YouTube or Twitch, we would have had hardly anybody there. So you got to go where your followers are following you and being the most active.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
I mean, although with Facebook you can simulcast,
And we're learning to do that. Like I said, this was new for us too. So if this is what happens next year, we'll probably do the same, except we'll probably simulcast to YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So if I want to see this, I have to literally go to goddamn Facebook and I have to search for.
Well, not for all of it. Some of it was linked to Facebook, but was hosted on YouTube and stuff. The event list and the links for all the different stuff was on Facebook, but some of it was being done on other platforms. But the bulk of the expo was done through Facebook and Facebook Live and other stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So the marketing team all handled it. I wasn't really hands-on with it. I helped do some of the prep work, but I was pretty much not involved in it throughout the weekend. So yeah, but it's just, like one group would host a show on YouTube and then another guy would do something on Facebook Live. Another guy was doing something on Twitch. So they were spreading the love around, but the majority of like the contests and interactions were all done through
I
Facebook.
am looking on your YouTube channel. The only thing that has been posted in the last 2 weeks is Sugar Blast trailer.
Right, but it was not ours. We were having media people host on their YouTube channels that were linked to. So like Tantrum House's YouTube page. They did a foodies play with fans in a contest, and Board Game Coffee did a thing on their Facebook page. And
I see.
So we were using media outlets to cross promote them and our expo. So it wasn't all on our platform. It was on theirs as well. So
okay. I was unaware.
Yeah.
I was not approached. Understood. Fair enough. He said, sadly, lonely in his little room. But okay, cool. Well, I will go look at Facebook. Oh, jeez. I'll feel dirty every second. But you got to go where you got to go, I guess.
Got it.
And actually, to be fair, it's not as bad as Twitch because I believe you can actually fucking pause and rewind on Facebook.
Yes, you can.
Yes. So Twitch is still the worst. It's interesting. I mean, I wonder, Aldi's
not here.
Yeah.
He had to run out for a
okay.
minute.
Damn. I need to.
He
burn
saw
him.
Lance coming back and
he
had
is
to
gone.
leave.
He is
Yeah,
beyond
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because I know Aldi's not alone. Because everybody I've ever asked whenever I ask why go to fucking Twitch, just because everybody says that's where people will actually watch.
Twitch is becoming one of the strongest streaming platforms, if it's not the strongest streaming platform right now. So it's kind of hard to avoid
Yeah.
it, even though
But
I don't like it
Can
as
you
much.
articulate why? It is technically inferior in
It's
every
be-
way,
it's
and
be-
it's just overall number of
'Cause
users
it's
per
made for
day
video
is a
gamers.
It's
fraction of
because it's
users.
made for video gamers, which is a higher
Yeah.
population of
Yeah.
viewers. Plus, Twitch really compensates the Twitch platform media people really well.
What do you mean?
So they want to use the software, so they're pushing it because
What do
they're
you mean?
getting.
That last one I didn't mean. What do you mean? Who are the
So
people
like
what?
you get the Twitch subscriptions, the users get 50% of that Twitch subscription money, as well as bonuses for broadcasting.
I see.
So the people on Twitch make a lot of money doing it. So even though it's inferior, they're going to keep doing it because they get better money than they would on YouTube or any other platform. So.
And YouTube, I mean, the closest thing YouTube has to that is super chats,
Right.
and that doesn't come close.
But the subscription system that Twitch uses just generates tons of money. I mean, some of these people have 15, 20,000 subscribers, which to a YouTuber is like, okay, but each of those subscribers is paying $5 a month. So when you start thinking of that kind of money all of a sudden, plus advertising, it's paying them it's way more than what you would make.
And the reality is YouTube offers that exact same functionality, but nobody uses it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the back end of all that stuff. I just know that a couple people I know that do Twitch, that's their platform of choice because they say they make the most revenue off it. So
yeah. Okay. So that I understand that.
But I mean, most of them, I would imagine, are doing it on both, right? Like I know a lot of the Twitch people are simulcasting YouTube and Twitch so they can double dip basically and make money off both. So, I mean, the good ones are going to be on as many platforms as possible because it's easy enough now to simulcast on all of the different platforms. So I don't know why you would only stick to one unless you've got licensing or terms for that. So.
Okay.
Plus, that's another good point that Paul made. Everybody who has Amazon Prime gets the Twitch Prime subscription, which is basically just throwing free money at one of these people because you can subscribe to one channel once per month for free through Amazon, and Amazon pays the $5. So anyone with Twitch Prime can subscribe to their favorite person every month with their Twitch Prime. It doesn't cost them a penny, and the Twitch user gets that half of that revenue. So Twitch Prime is a really big motivator for people because it's a free way to subscribe to your favorite content creator and get all the extra content. So YouTube doesn't do anything like that. You have to pay for the YouTube premium to like cut out all that stuff. But if you're Twitch Prime, then you don't get the advertisements and all that crap. So it's an advantage over the other platforms.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I don't know how the media person sees it because I don't produce media content. So I don't know if it's easier or better to do stuff on Twitch versus other platforms, but I mean, I've not had the issues that you've had with the Twitch stuff. Like it doesn't bother me that I can't pause or fast forward or rewind because I watch it live or I watch it once it's uploaded. And then once it's uploaded, I can do whatever I want with the video.
See, I think that's actually part of it. I was thinking about that today because I wanted to, I mean, a couple of times I went over to all these things and like, first thing I want to do is, this is interesting. I want to jump back 5 minutes so I can hear the beginning of this fucking conversation and then play it at 2 speed because everybody's talking so fucking slow. And I can't do that. And like, okay, screw it. I'll watch this in 3 months when it eventually shows up on YouTube, I guess. So I can actually watch it properly because everybody talks very slow. And I wonder the fact that Twitch steadfastly refuses to let you do that makes it more destination, makes it to where, okay, well, I have to sit here. I have to put my butt in this chair and stare at this screen because otherwise I will miss it. YouTube, a live Dice Tower stream or whatever the equivalent is. Oh, okay, yeah, I can just pause this and I'll come back 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, the fact that YouTube doesn't, I mean, Twitch is effectively live TV the way it was growing up in the 70s and 80s, where you have to sit there and you have to watch it.
Unless you want to watch it once it's finished and uploaded to their channel, which then you can just go in at your leisure. But yeah, I mean, it's good for the advertisers because they know that they have an attentive audience because you're there watching and you're not getting the liberty to be able to just pause.
Exactly.
Their video on demand, you can fast forward. You can run it. You can run it 2x.
Oh no, that's what I was saying. I mean, I looked a few times because I was definitely interested to watch today, and I kept reminded, Twitch is shitty because I would get on, and I think at one point you were talking to a Spiel des Jahres guy, and he was talking about decision. I'm like, oh, this is fascinating. Let me rewind 5 minutes. Oh wait, I fucking can't. Right. Fuck this shit. I will walk away. God,
I'll go to get his virtual gun.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean. But yeah, I mean, as Pete was pointing out, I mean, so can you talk much about what you're getting from that Twitch Prime? Is that playing a big part of it,
Well,
Aldi?
once you're an affiliate, they have like 3 levels.
Okay.
Like,
And that's based on subscribers and
like
viewers.
subscribers or viewers, or I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a number. There's a bunch of numbers.
Okay.
I'll turn my video on in a second. The nothing level is you get nothing, right?
Are you the nothing level at the moment?
No, we're affiliate.
Okay.
So we can get subscribers, and a person who is a subscriber can link their Twitch account to their Amazon Prime account.
Yes.
And then they will give it that they can give us a subscription. I think it's a $5 subscription.
It is.
Of which the channel shares in that profit. I don't remember how much. I think it's half.
It's 50%. So 250 goes to the user and 250 goes to Twitch.
Right. So,
but it's a free 250 because Amazon pays it.
Yeah, it's a free 250 because you don't. The end user doesn't pay for it, right? They paid for it through Twitch, basically, or sorry, Prime, Amazon Prime. Now people can do subscriptions and they can give you bits. Giving you bits is just like giving you money.
It's like super chat, basically.
It's like their currency.
Plus, there's multiple levels too. Like $5 is the base level. It's like 5, 10, 15, and 20 or 25.
Yeah,
so some of your big time guys that really want to support channels can go in for 20 or 25 a month, and again, you're getting 50% of that. And
now you have to live stream a certain amount to maintain affiliate status.
Yeah,
certain times a month. So, like you have to stream at least once per 30 days or something like that, or certain number of hours per 30 days. Now, partnership lets you in on the ad revenue. So whatever ads your channel generates, there's some share there. At least that's my understanding. I don't know for sure. And there's some other perks, like found this out today. If you're a partner, you have direct access to their encoders. So like, when you stream at like 1080, and then you see like streams that are like 720, 640, 360, all the lower stream levels, the encoded down for different devices. You get access to that premium. Like you get priority access to those. If you're a partner, you get that priority access. If you're an affiliate, you get it when it's available. So if Twitch has processors available, they'll auto encode your stream. We found that out today. I didn't know that. So for the past 2 months, we've been getting it for free as an affiliate.
I'm sorry. I guess I understand. What do you mean auto encode your feed?
So when you stream at 1080.
Yes, you started.
And you know how you can choose like different levels, like 720 or 640 or 360. Yeah. All the lower versions of the down resolution streams.
Okay.
A processor has to encode those real time. Or you upload them real time. And we don't have a way to do that, upload them real time. So we were using Twitch's auto encoder and we were getting access to it. Today we did not. So there's a bunch of people who are like, I can't watch this because it's 1080, right? Can you downsample it? And we're like, well, we normally don't have to. Like, why is that a problem today? And then I found out, well, Twitch prioritizes their partners.
I see, yeah.
For that. And we're not a partner, so we're just an affiliate.
So because you didn't have access to that, and you were streaming everything at 1080p, people had to watch at 1080p.
Yeah, and a lot of people on the phones can't, right? Because they don't have the.
Of course.
So I got a few complaints there, and I didn't even know this, right? And
wow.
I found out today after I investigated it, and like some people knew. So we found that out, and that's kind of annoying because I don't think our software will upload the different encodings. Like some software will, like I think OBS does. But not vMix that I could find. So we could only upload at 1080. Anyway, that's just a minor problem. But
yeah.
And when you're watching it back, you can watch it at any speed because they'll encode it in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I think they just stream it. I think when the video on demand stuff is only 720. So you can't even watch the VODs at 1080. But with a click of a button, you can transfer it to YouTube, and it transfers in like a minute, which is crazy. Like we could transfer today's stream, like the 8-hour stream, in like 1 minute.
Wow.
So they have some hyper fast connection.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's beneficial for YouTube and Twitch to be able to make their videos
Yeah.
accessible on both platforms.
And now, but YouTube does have to do its like processing, which takes time. You don't get access to it in a minute. It takes a minute to be there, but then you have to wait for the for YouTube to do its thing. Yeah, I've learned a lot in the past month. Lance is actually on the show right now. We're doing a rerun. That's another nice thing is you can play reruns on Twitch. And there's 152 people watching right now.
Were you gonna come on there and talk again and trash on me?
Maybe
trash on my grandma.
Add more insults. Add more insults.
I could just see Aldi getting on the stream while Lance's reruns on and him talking more trash on Lance. That would be fitting.
At this point, I mean, it's just
kick him while he's down.
May as well,
Well, it's interesting because when you do reruns, there's you'll see the comments, but you can also comment.
Right, and the comment sticks your new comment in the timeline where it would have been if you were watching it live.
Which is weird to me because no one's going to respond to you.
No, but you can still leave it there if you hope people will come back and watch it later. I actually, the first time I found that out was by accident. I was watching a Marvel Crisis Protocol rerun of a live stream, and I didn't realize it was a rerun. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I typed in a comment, and I saw it come up with a timestamp, and I'm like, it doesn't timestamp. Why is it timestamped? And then I watched, and then I realized that it wasn't live, but it timestamped my comment and stuck it in the chat in the right spot. And I was like freaked out.
It looks like your participating.
I mean, it's kind of cool, but I mean, you're right. You're not getting a live answer. Your only hope is that someone will see that and comment and timestamp, but then you've got to go back and find it.
Since there's 150 people watching right now, there might be chat that's like where people are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But all those extra timestamped comments help the video as well because it's more.
It's not a lot of money. It's not a great deal of money. It's really not about the money. But I mean, it's just like I like the system. I mean, believe me, if I could get anything out of YouTube, I would switch it. But we can't. We don't get anybody watching.
Yeah,
like maybe 5.
YouTube is tough. It's a tough cookie. You don't really make a lot of money until you get.
It's like you have to get like 1 million subscribers, right? Or be like a very, very, very popular personality like Rado or Rodney or some people like that.
Well, yeah, because you'll get your YouTube, but you'll get your super chats and you'll get your donations.
People want to see you as much as they want to see the game, Richard. Right? Like.
Yeah, totally. And Jen.
If people want to see the game, they'd be all over us all day long. But they want to see people. We do 200 games at Essen. Mm-hmm. We struggled to get an audience.
Do you
Not
feel
this year.
that is maybe are you identifying a mistake in your programming that it should be less game centric and more
personality?
Eric and Beth and Lincoln and whoever,
Rodney and all those guys,
talking about what they saw rather than bringing in. I don't know who this random.
That's a good point.
Is.
Get them to fall in love with your personalities instead of the games because there's always going to be more games, but the personalities are harder to find.
Yeah, we've talked about sort of transitioning to that.
Oh yeah,
but here's the thing: that's not even their main jobs. Like nobody. Well, Lincoln's main job is video. That's main job is developing and building up products. Right? She's a product developer. Eric is a news guy. He was never brought in for video prowess, but he's wonderful at it.
He is very charismatic.
Well, it's a shame you don't know too many media people that could help you with that.
Quality to him that is very watchable.
I mean, I have comments about that, but I will not say them.
Yeah, it's a shame you don't know anybody in the media business you could work on collaborations with, that happened to maybe.
It's real hard to work on collaborations. It just is because everybody wants to do their own thing.
Yeah. Huh. So you've talked about
maybe some people would be interested in working with you if you didn't trash on their grandma.
Well, I knew it was coming.
I was trashing on you, Lance, not your grandma.
It's interesting.
Oh, my grandmothers are dead. So
I wouldn't trash on your grandmother.
Well,
The first time I went to Essen as Rado instead of just a guy who happened to like games, I scheduled and arranged several meetings with people for games I was really interested in, and I went to their booths and I had them tell me your game. And they gave me the 15-minute spiel. And then I said, okay, fine, thanks. You can step away. And I did little mini run-throughs of them. And
I watched you do one.
Yeah. I mean,
You
it's
were like right around the corner of the BGG booth.
Yeah, it's true. Someone in chat just mentioned too, if you're looking for personalities, you know Spencer Reeve is available now on the market. He's no longer with IDW. He's a good video guy and a pretty well-known personality in the board game industry.
Sure.
Someone that would probably be a good fit for you if you're looking for more personalities that have video editing skills.
I have a lot of irons in the fire, let's say.
Ah, okay.
You always do.
There's very little fruit to be born so far. I mean, we're trying. We're really trying.
Yeah.
A very hard challenge.
Mhm.
Mostly because people who are already established personalities want to be their own. So, like, it's hard to draw someone away from what their main, like Richard. Like, I would like to work with Richard. Give me a free. When's your free time, Richard? None, right? I mean, I know you got. In fact, I'm actually surprised you had time for Tom. Like, because you're doing it 2 hours a week, right? That's a lot of time.
Well, he makes time for certain people.
When he originally approached me about that, it was after the top 10 he and I did, which turned out to be his #1 video of the year so far. And he said we should really do more stuff, and I'm like, okay, I guess maybe once every couple of months we could do something. And he said, well, maybe like once a month. I'm like, okay, I guess we could do that. And then cut to a month later, he said, hey, are you ready to do that? Let's do it twice a week. Like, this is not what I signed up for, man. But but it's a world pandemic, and and Tom is genuine in his desire just to try to create entertaining content for people to take their minds off their troubles. I think he got to the point where even he realized, okay, this is going on a lot longer than I thought. Yeah. And I need to pare it back.
One day, I watched a few of them, and I tuned in one day, and you guys were talking about ice cream.
Yeah,
right? I mean, like the game talk had been long over. I mean,
well, it developed into when it's on my channel, it's non-game related stuff. When it's on his channel, it's game related stuff. It just kind of evolved that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So because that's the odd thing we're doing is 1 week it's on his, the other week it's on mine. So there's kind of a cross pollination thing going. Sure. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. But no, we will not keep it up.
Anytime you want to give me 4 hours a week, Rado, I'll sign you right up. You tell me what you want to do.
Well, you tell me. Here's the only reason I'm doing this with Tom. He does every fucking thing. All I have to do is sit in this chair from 11 to 12 on Tuesdays, and previously on Tuesdays and Fridays. He's running everything. He calls me up on Skype. I answer, and then I just start talking to the camera.
Yeah. No, when I went on the other night, it was really smooth.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, you went through the same thing. So he's really busting his ass to make it easy for whoever he brings on, and that makes it attractive. So if you've got something you want to do, and as long as I don't have to do anything other than just sit in a chair for an hour or every once in a while, I can do that.
I'll send you that. Because we're doing 4 hours, 8 hours a week of live streaming games. Like you.
Again on Twitch, right.
Play games, yeah. You play games.
No, I did a guest stint on AEG for their daily Tiny Towns thing they're doing, and I'm doing the thing with Tom. So I don't mind. I'd be happy to do it. I'm doing a crazy ass siphon filter thing tomorrow, where I'm going to have a reunion with somebody I haven't talked to for 20 years. We're going to wax rhapsodic about developing siphon filter because a Discord channel asked me to, and I don't know why, but I said, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that day the Duke Nukem reunion happens. I don't know.
So okay, it was funny. I'm subscribed to Twitch for that.
I was reading a interview I did like 10 years ago, and it was a Board Game Geek interview I did with the local magazine here in Dallas, D-Mag, and it turned into a Duke Nukem interview. What got printed? Like all the questions about Duke Nukem got printed, and very, very, very little about board games. Like 3 of the 10 questions were board games, and the rest was Duke Nukem bullshit. I'm like, why are you asking me so much about Duke Nukem, man? It's like it was so much ancient history.
Yeah.
Now I knew why he wanted to do a Duke Nukem article.
But he knew you wouldn't say yes to it, so he roped you in with the board game.
In fact, I struggled to come up with some stuff because I don't like bad mouth. I mean, you read the article and it sounds like
you don't like bad mouth. Oh, really?
It's your grandmother. That's all.
Lance, if you change your name to Duke Nukem, you're golden. Just change your name to Duke Nukem.
How do I get in that group? Just let me know.
You're still on your grandmother bad mouth. Come on.
No, go on. Talk about how you don't like the bad mouth people.
He dragged it on me, right? It was one of those things where it's like it kept coming back up, and I'm like, what? Like, why? Right? Because we're like, he came to the convention. We were at BGGCon, and he's interviewing me.
Oh, I was under the impression this was a long time ago, but
Oh yeah, no, it was a long time ago. But BGGCon's been.
Oh, you're right. I guess you're right. Of course, yeah. BG,
We've been doing
think about it.
5, so.
Yeah.
So anyone surprised about the Gen Con announcement yesterday?
I was surprised a little.
You were? Okay. I thought most people were expecting it, so.
But like,
you didn't think they'd actually go through with it.
I mean, here's the thing, and I'm not a publisher, so I don't know what happened. So, and I don't know, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but and I'm not trying to badmouth them. But they basically go from nothing. They go from like it's on to it's off, and we're doing a digital thing. I'm like,
which obviously takes planning, so they had to have already known about this for a while.
Did anybody get contact? Did you get contact?
We didn't. We found out yesterday, just like everybody else did.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Wow.
Now you're building this big, huge thing with digital. And then it's fine. I don't begrudge you for doing that. But when you want to get some buy-in from the people who actually like make the show, do the show. Like, I mean, you're not going to get the attendees to go like make content.
Or do they think they're just too big to fail, and whatever they do, people beat a path to their door?
People will be starved for content regardless, so I'm sure it's going to be successful no matter what they throw out there, because what else are you going to watch?
No, I guess they and I was the similar way, right? Like we canceled BGGCon. 2 weeks later, we have BGGCon virtual, right? And
yeah, we did the same thing. Well, I mean, a little longer, but we canceled Simon Expo, and a month later, we've got Simon virtual. So.
Yeah, so I guess that's maybe I'll be in the similar position.
Does that cancellation, along with Essen, pretty much signify there will be no board game conventions in 2020? Is that the final nail in the coffin? If those two aren't going to do it, then there probably won't be any.
Who would have one?
That's the question.
Actually, I've lost track. Have you decided about BGG November?
No, and Pete nailed it earlier. I was watching you, Pete. There are legal and economical factors in play.
Oh.
Yeah, if you cancel it too early, then you're in for your deposit and all that. Yep. Whereas if the state or city government cancels it, then you can use that as your loophole.
Yep.
So and that makes perfect sense.
Remember, but like Essen had sent an email out to all their exhibitors that if you cancel, you're going to get penalized.
Right.
And then the next week they're canceled.
Yeah, they canceled. Once they knew they were getting their money back from the convention center, they could then let everyone else off the hook.
Right? I mean, it's a fucked up situation. Like
it is, but no one ever built global pandemic into their policies on conventions. I think they will in the future, but right now there just wasn't any guarantee or insurance that covered it, and now there will be. I'm sure there will be moving forward.
Actually, I think I remember trying to ask this a few weeks ago, and maybe you had already gotten off, Pete. But Pete Lance, publisher, stand-in guys, do you make enough revenue to warrant all of these things? I mean, the conventions. I mean, I've always been led to believe the costs are so astounding that you're lucky if you break even, and the whole purpose is just to try to signal boost hey, we have a game coming out. Oh, there's an event that people are excited. Therefore, that excitement will rub off on our game, even though we won't make any money off of doing this event.
Well, I have a short answer, and then I'll let Lance go because I know he'll probably have a longer answer than me. But no, I think 10 years ago, those shows were profitable. They were profitable enough that they were worth the cost for the amount of marketing buzz you got.
Yes.
But I think now board games are big enough and the show costs have gone up so much that you're unless you're in that small to medium weight category where you can sell enough to offset your expenses, it's not worth it. A company the size of Asmodee or even Simon or Paizo or these big companies, they're never going to sell enough at a show like Gen Con to offset their booth costs. The fact that our audiences are so tuned into us now on social media that the stuff we're pitching and hawking there, they're probably buying it anyway, regardless of whether we were at Gen Con or not. And the fact that R&R Games, which is one of my biggest tells, quit going to Gen Con 2 years in a row now and don't miss it and don't miss a beat on it and don't miss the money, don't miss any of that.
They don't miss getting robbed.
They're robbed or whatever. But the fact is that it didn't hurt their bottom line. And I think this year without Gen Con will show a lot of publishers that the amount of money you save from Gen Con outweighs the amount of money you would have made at Gen Con. And I think that's bad for the conventions going forward because Gen Con for these big publishers, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars and you're going to maybe sell $30,000 worth of games. And it takes a long time after that show to sell enough outside of the con to make up that expense. So I think it's going to be an eye opener to some of these guys saying, wow, we saved 400,000 on our show budget this year. Maybe why are we doing these shows again? We're still selling almost the same amount in retail. So
That's
It's a
scary.
good thing you switched departments, Pete.
It's
you're
a scary-
damn right about that, or else I'd be unemployed right now.
scary prospect for the big shows that build most of their income around having publishers.
I was just going to ask, on the opposite side, that's the publisher view. What about?
Well, no,
the
Lance
convention
still
runner
hasn't
view?
given his publisher. He's in a different size company, I think, than
Okay,
me, so it's a different perspective. So
Yeah, I mean, Gray Fox or TMG, Lance. I mean, do you agree?
Well, I was talking to my grandmother.
Yeah.
Channel? Did you channel her? Did you do a seance?
Shane couldn't be happier that we aren't going to conventions this year.
Yeah.
It's a
Richard.
giant, it's a giant, as he says, it's a pain in the ass. And speaking, as the guy who, what's the line from, what was it? Homer, old Simpsons, where they thought that Marge might be pregnant or whatever, and then he said, and then the kids are like, "This is gonna be great. We're gonna have 2 babies. We can race them." And he's like, "Oh, sure, for you, babies are fun, but for me, it's late night feedings and changing diapers." And they're like, "Doesn't mom do all that?" He goes, "Well, yeah, but I have to hear about it." So at TMG, like I would do some booth setup, but not nearly as much as the other people, just because basically they wanted me wandering around talking to people and just spreading the TMG word.
Yeah.
Setting up a booth is just a total.
Oh, I bet.
Backbreaking work, and you.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It never goes smoothly. Something always goes wrong, and you're exhausted before the show starts.
You're always sitting there waiting. Like either if you have all your tables and chairs, you don't have your games. If you have all your games, you don't have your tables and chairs.
It's a big pain in the ass, and it's nerve wracking because you only have 1.5 days to do it, right?
Yep.
Everything has to be on a fucking laser timing to get it done.
And on top of that, you're so focused and stressed and overburdened by doing it that by the time the show starts, you're already gassed. So now you're running on fumes for 4 straight days and then have to go through the teardown process at the end of it all. So you lose so much productivity that week after a show because people are burnt, taking time off, travel time, that you're just behind the 8 ball on your regular work. So, I think a lack in shows this year, if my mind is correct on what I'm thinking, is that all of the time taken away from shows this year is going to be put into making and developing games, that we should see a better quality product next year, because these companies have spent all their money, resources, and time making games instead of trying to hawk them at shows. Because some of these companies do a lot of shows, like 12, 15, 20 shows.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean,
they're all...
Bonacor must spend 50% of his life.
So if they're spending all this time now cultivating the games that are coming out next year instead, I think we're going to get a better product.
Yeah. Lance, so you said Shane's like, oh, thank God. Why didn't he stop 2 years ago? I mean, was it just got to keep up with the Joneses? It's just expected. Our audience demands it.
He made a little money.
Okay.
Like, because they sell like the Gray Fox exclusive stuff. Like, so if you buy a game in retail, it doesn't come with like everything that's like exclusive. They call them Gray Fox exclusives. So
yeah,
you can either buy them through the website at Gray Fox, or you can buy them at conventions. And so he made money. He like, oh, here's the Kickstarter versions of the game. Oh, you already bought the game at your local game store. Here's all of the promos, that you weren't able to get a hold of. All these cards, all these things. So he actually made money at conventions. I mean, it was a little bit of money, but as he said, like the little bit of money you made, plus the exposure, it was worth it. But he always says, the giant pain in the butt to do it.
Yeah.
It
was worth doing, but not worth being excited about.
Exactly.
No.
Okay.
And I mean, and that's the lucky case that you actually make money.
Sure. That they found a way to leverage it.
I mean, for a company like BGG, even though you guys sell stuff, you probably lose money every show. It's a marketing expense. For us, absolutely marketing expense. We don't make money at conventions. Asmodee, these giant booths with the size space they have.
Yeah.
If you even knew how much the rates on those booths cost, you can't make money. So they absorb that money as a marketing expense, which rightfully so it is. But with social media being much more prominent now than it was 10 years ago, I don't think you need that marketing expense anymore. I think you could do 1 or 2 medium to small shows a year, do your trade shows to hit the retailers, which are really the ones selling your stuff, and then spend the rest of the money in marketing virtually.
What retailers?
Yeah. Huh?
You think there are gonna be retailers left?
Yeah. We're not going to lose as many. We're going to lose
I don't
some,
think so.
but you're not going to lose all of them.
Okay.
I
mean, if I was shut down for more than a month, BGG would be under damage.
Yeah.
And they've been shut down for months.
No, not really. Most of them have been
Really?
doing curbside and delivery. Only
Who orders curbside game store?
a lot.
Really?
A lot.
Okay. All
You'd
right.
be surprised.
I'm
20,
hopeful.
I'm thinking maybe 15 to 20% we're going to lose, and it's going to be the ones that probably would have gone out of business in the next few years anyway. The good retail stores are managing ways to stay afloat, and the ones that are well run were able to withstand it just by getting whatever government aid they could get. I think you're going to see the bottom half of the retail fall off, but I think the middle and top half are going to be fine. It's still going to be a significant number, but it's.
I think you have a very optimistic attitude, because those guys are still getting charged rent and not making any money, and they're still having then they still have all their personal expenses.
Yeah.
With no income or little lesser income.
And I'm sure curbside delivery is not. Isn't most of that just kind of driven by, I got to chip in and help my favorite store?
A lot of it is. A lot of it's driven by if these people
Loyalty
knowing that if they don't come in and spend $30, $40 once a week, their store probably won't be there when this is over. So a lot of people have just came in and bought their sleeves and bought their book games, and not a lot of new releases came out, so they didn't have as much to offer. But some of my retailers are saying they've never been busier because people are looking for things to do at home, and puzzles have been crazy. They can't keep puzzles in stock. 90% of your board game retailers sell puzzles, so they're able to take care of those needs. So our board game store took the opportunity and renovated the whole store and expanded 2,000 feet. They took the time that they knew they were going to need to shut down to do the renovation. They've been planning for years and said now's the perfect time because they weren't going to get much business anyway, and did it. And now they just reopened yesterday, and brand new floor, brand new shelves, brand new paint job. Bought the store next to them that was vacated for a really good rate because the rents are cheap now because people are worried about filling it. So they actually took the opportunity to move forward. So, and they're not the only one. I saw Night's Watch Games posted a video on Facebook. They just expanded and added like 3,000 square.
Those are well capitalized stores.
Yes.
I think most stores are bare bones month to month.
A few years ago we were having such a huge explosion of board game cafes in every city.
Mm-hmm.
Surely those are all just closing up shop.
I worry more about the cafes than I do the traditional board game stores, because the cafes got to deal with two fronts. Although the cafes probably were able to stay open because they serve food, so they could be considered essential. But I don't know how good people. Yeah, so they may not have taken as big a hit because they could keep the doors open, but they are going to have a harder road because they have to deal with all the new regulations with the food service and all that. So it's going to be a little tougher for them. But most of them probably didn't get hit as hard because they didn't have to close. Whereas a traditional board game store,
they couldn't let people through the door, but like I said, again, they could do curbside stuff.
Right, and because they sold food, they could keep the doors open.
Curbside from a game store, like food?
Yeah,
I would never.
If they want to support them, yeah. I mean, if you're a game store,
I don't have any.
Store,
I guess I don't have any of that here, but
yeah,
I still wouldn't order.
If my local game store was
usually mediocre,
was hurting, I would probably order a curbside. I'd get a copy of the new King of Tokyo Dark and then get a malt or a snack. I mean, sure. I mean, if you want to support your store, you'll find a way to do it. A lot of people loaded up on gift cards before they got shut
I don't have
down.
A store here in Dallas, so
I'm sure a lot of them stores start delivering online.
Oh, yeah, our local store did. They offered free delivery within 15 miles. You place your order over the phone, you pay over credit card, they drop it on your front door, and you would leave, and they'd wait at the curb until you open the door to pick it up to make sure you got it. So that's the way they stayed in business. They were doing, a dozen of those delivery orders, and it gave them a reason to put one of their people back to work because they could be their delivery driver, pay for his gas and let him go deliver board games all day. So, yeah, the ingenious retailers found a way to survive.
Yeah.
As Jeff Goldblum said, life will find a way. They found a way to minimize the loss as best as possible. Plus, a lot of them qualified for PPE because they're all small business. So if they got the PPE loans on top of whatever revenue they could generate from staying partially open, then they're probably not losing as much as you would think.
So that was publisher, and there's retailers. I was curious, Aldi. I mean, Kabuki mentioned, you've said in the past that almost a third of Board Game Geek's overall, income is from or revenue is from conventions.
Yeah.
How much of that is publishers?
And if we
you
cancel
open back up and publishers say, yeah, fuck it, we're done with that.
So here's the thing. Next year's going to be rough.
Yeah.
I'm preparing for it, and we opened a new store today, so that's in anticipation of having a really bad year next year.
Okay.
And every convention's having a really bad year next year. Just that.
Yeah.
They're
we
all.
were talking about it earlier before you.
We're all in the same bucket.
Yeah.
Next year's going to be
basically
worse than
you're trying to stretch, and that's assuming we're going to have a convention next year, which is still up in the air.
Sure. Yeah.
You're trying to stretch 2 years of expenses in 1 year, with 1 year's of income. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those years where your companies are going to get lean and mean to try to survive and weather the storm, and some are going to go under completely. But it's going to be it's a lot's buying on next year, because if next year's convention season is completely scratched like this year's, then I don't know that many. They may survive 1 year, but 2 years I don't think any of them survive. I couldn't see how it's possible.
I'm shuddering to think if we have a 2-year blackout, because I will have to. I'll just have to pivot the company if I want to stay in business.
Wow. It goes solely to like online store and website, and just eliminate the convention part of it.
Well, the convention part would be eliminated for me. So yeah. I guess we'd have to figure out how to make.
There's no upside. You can envision we'll continue to do conventions, but our conventions are 100% about the tables and playing games and events. And we're just not bothering with a publisher room anymore. Or was the publisher room?
Oh, it was a fair. It was a fair. Yeah, no, it was all right for us. It was all right for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. That was not a break even. There was profit there. However, virtual conventions, which we're having at the end of June with Dice Tower,
yes,
could be an alternative business
if you monetize it. Yeah, most of them are free right now. Some of them are charging for event type stuff, virtual events, but monetizing that, considering that the expenses are much less, even though they're still there, they're a lot less than having to rent hotels.
They're also significantly less for attendees. So I would think charging a mere $20 ticket to go to a virtual convention would be not a big deal.
Right.
It's all what you put the value in.
Right. So attendees don't have to worry about hotels. They don't have to worry about travel, but you have to make it fun and engaging, because it's taking a big void of what the real convention experience is like. So it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves, but I do think it's going to be a bigger part of the industry in the next couple of years.
Well, that's why
even when this is over and there's
every single convention announced a digital, right?
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people afraid to go back to a convention, even if things are okay to go back to a convention.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but because I'm subscribed to Mertz Verlag, which runs Spiel, they announced Spiel Digital.
Yeah.
Oh no,
the day after they canceled.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got Spiel Digital, you got Gen Con Digital, you got Origins Digital, you got BGG Digital, you got Dice Tower Digital. And PAX Digital is coming, I'm assuming, maybe. I haven't heard a peep from PAX.
Well, PAX is the last one of the year, so they probably have a little more time before they're going to.
What about their video game conventions? When are all those happening? I don't know. I don't know the PAX.
I think they've already been canceled. Well, PAX, I think one of the PAXs happened before this was over. I think one of the PAXs was in February, so it
the one in Texas. Yeah,
but I don't know about the rest of them. I am assuming they canceled. I hadn't heard anything about it. I haven't heard of any video game news from any of the shows. So I think whatever the last one was in February was the only one. So if there was
E3 canceled.
Yeah, but it wasn't E3 done already even before this. Almost everybody pulled out of E3 anyway, right? Microsoft, Sony, all that.
Everybody went back.
Oh, they did go back. Okay.
Yeah, they can't miss out. All the big ones went. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. Although you know what, Nintendo, I think
they're doing a direct monthly.
They didn't exhibit hall. I think they did though. I think they did exhibit hall. I want to say they saw some stuff from E3 last year, but they do a press conference, and that costs money.
Yeah. I don't know. I think virtual conventions are going to be a lot more prevalent.
It's going to be virtual conventions. I think. That's my prediction.
Speaking of your upcoming your collaboration with Dice Tower.
Yeah.
What can you say about that? You mentioned you have your Tabletopia is basically opening up all their doors. I remember that
Tabletopia will be 100% free, even the premium games. For that week. It's like
nice.
It's a 5-day event.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's real cool.
I'm excited for it. Now, the people who had tickets to either Dice Tower or BGG Con are just rolled into that. You'll get a free attendance ticket.
Mhm.
Anybody else who wants to join, there will be a modest fee, which I said it might be about $20. Still kind of working out the prices. Hopefully, and
so-
that'll hopefully prove whether or not this is a viable business model.
Well, I was
'Cause
just
think
say,
$20 is about
if
as
you
cheap as it could get.
without the limitations of having, to only be able to have 1,500 people burst on the hotel, if you get 3,000 people that sign up at $20 and don't have to pay the hotels and all that, and it could end up being, I don't think it'll ever be as profitable, but the profit margin could be better than what you're getting from your regular show. You just may not make the revenue because of, all the
Well,
extra.
a BGG-Con ticket is $150, right?
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
some there's
Yeah.
kind of a big number delta there for 20.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You may not make the number,
But
but
who
it
knows?
may,
If 10,000 people show up, then that scales, right? I
Well,
mean,
Yeah.
what's the so I mean I'm sad I can't go to Board Game Week. There's this digital thing and Tabletopia. I mean, what is the value proposition that makes me say, yeah, I'll pay $20 for this? I mean,
so you'll get access to all the matchmaking. You
Yes.
can run your own event or just attend events, right? Other people can run events. There will be a group of people that will want to run events, and there'll be a group of people who only want to attend, and there might be a group of people who only want to watch the premiere content. Like Game Night will do something, Tom is going to do something.
and this is only live streamed to the guests or the attendees, not to the open general public.
It might be. Yeah, it's probably going to be open to the general public because I don't
Okay.
think there's any way to gate.
I think he was asking, well, what's the premium content you're paying for versus what you could just get for free?
Yeah.
because I could go on
I
Tabletopia right now.
No, it's got some implementation issues, but you won't get access to the scheduling.
Mhm.
You won't get access to the Discord
Okay.
to actually communicate with people who are also there, right? You'll be flailing in the wind basically, but no, I suspect there'll be people who just want to like use
Linger.
it without paying. Yeah, use it without like what do you call those freeloaders?
Lurkers.
Lurkers.
Is Forrester what? Ah,
Anyway.
Oh, did you?
I mean,
was-
even
Hey,
even if-
$20 is $20.
even if
$20.
we had people
20
sneaking
bucks.
in.
Yeah.
Well-
so I mean, I'm sure that happens in reality too.
Yeah.
If people are quick about it.
Now
So-
another question would be is how to get the publishers to join up and see value in being part of that whereas they can sell games directly or something like that. That's challenging because not every publisher can sell direct.
And not every publisher, I was just gonna say, not every publisher, like we can't sell direct. Asmodee, our contract is they only sell through Asmodee. So making a value proposition that would benefit companies like us that can't sell direct is a
So-
lot harder than like the
And that's
companies.
sort of the geek game shops business
That's
model,
your
Right.
first step.
right?
in that.
Call us and we'll get your game out to be purchased
Mhm.
during those times. And that's what happened today. Now, the sales weren't like, oh my God, this is amazing, but there were sales.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it might still be, people are going to
Sales
watch.
that would not have happened otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And that's important. Every little bit helps in this time. Plus, it's a good testing ground to let you know if you have a viable business model moving forward. Because if you don't, then like you said, you got to pivot. But if you see enough potential that you can invest a little bit more into that phase of the company, and then maybe you have an alternate path to not have to wholesale redistribute your talent and manpower and all that.
And we've sort of been pivoting, as you noticed, probably over the years. Like the Geek Up bits are all our own creation.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right? We were basically selling $5 promo cards, and now our main seller is a $30 to $50 premium.
That you designed yourself, so the
Yeah.
money's all in-house
No,
versus
we do
paying.
pay royalties.
Well, yeah, you must. I mean, because
we
you
do pay
can't just use
Right.
Clemens' art.
It's
for
a
Orleans.
royalty program.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. Well, it's nice talking about it all. I'm glad you guys kind of see it. You see the problems.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's fascinating, and I hope for the best. And yeah, I mean, to what you said earlier, I mean, if I can help out, I will. I'm more than happy to.
Oh,
I mean,
well, I appreciate. Yeah,
I'm
think it would be
dumb.
fun
I
to have
generally
you
tend to say yes when people ask.
to sit at the game table. I want to make it as easy as I don't want to be any pain. That's the point. Like,
Well, that's the big
Yeah.
thing. I mean, you're
You,
gonna. I mean,
you saved the pain for your friends.
and we need to get
His
you.
grandmother.
You guys want to come on? Glad to have you. Be awesome.
Oh,
We just got to figure out the game we want to play.
we can.
Oh, one of our users is writing a custom parsley.
a custom parsley.
Yeah, she's doing she's a base. So it's Jackie Fox who has been on the BGG show, or the Game Night show. She lives in LA. She's friends with all of us. She used to be she was the bassist for the Runaways with Joan Jett, right?
Oh,
And so she's a lawyer and a Jeopardy champion and bassist, right? Musician. She's writing a Parsley, which is the game that we play. I don't know if you were there, Richard, but
I don't know what a parsley is.
it's a text adventure that we play by voice, and then everybody just takes a turn.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
We did a couple.
I saw you guys
done
were
it-
doing something like
we
that
did it last
a
week.
couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Or weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. She's writing a one about how do I get. I forget the theme. It's something about having a concert or getting to a concert on time.
Okay.
Something like that.
Mm.
Or touring with a band. So I'm excited to see that.
Cool.
I don't know why.
Are you doing something? I mean, like, I'm just trying to think of interesting, unique stuff. Frosthaven is still the biggest thing in the universe. And could you get Isaac to come in and do, celebrity sessions and stuff like that?
Possible if it can be played like with remote.
It's you can on not on Tabletopia, but on fucking Tabletop Simulator.
Oh,
yeah, but if it's not official or licensed, you probably wouldn't want to promote that platform.
Well, I mean, in this case, it is. He did develop it.
Oh, he developed it. Oh, yeah, he probably would.
I would be down for that. I have to reach
Well,
out.
Are
what is
you
your Tabletop
exclusive?
Simulator? Portion. I mean, I assume Tabletopia does not want you promoting Tabletop Simulator.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are you exclusive with Tabletopia? Is it a deal, or are you just using that platform?
There's a deal, and I don't know the details because I didn't arrange it.
Yeah,
so I better know the deal before.
I was going to say you better know the deal before you go.
No, I don't.
Go announcing.
Yeah, we are live. We are recording.
It literally happened like 2 days ago, Monday night. Yeah, so
I would confirm that before you go bring in Tabletop
exactly.
Simulator events to your programming. That may not be a good look for
Yeah,
you.
I was really happy when I saw that
can
announcement.
other things can be done.
Yeah, I love the Tabletopia guys. I mean, I think they're great. And
Never
I
played on
their model
Tabletopia.
better.
I've heard good things, but
Is
I've
that
always
a rules enforcement?
No,
system?
they don't.
It's just
Tabletopia. Tabletop Simulator has some because the end users are very passionate and try to implement stuff. But Tabletopia, as yet, doesn't have any. You got to go to Board Game Arena or Yucata or whatever to get that, which is too bad.
Is it Yucata or Yucata?
That is literally the first time I've ever said the word out loud, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust me.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Probably Yucata. Yeah, that makes.
I mean, we're not. I don't think we would have done anything exclusive because here's the deal: people use Tabletop Simulator for all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, like that's the cool thing about the convention, the virtual con, is you can use any. We wanted you to use any medium that you're familiar with, right? Like Roll20 for an RPG or whatever, or
right.
Just
so the
nothing.
main thing, I mean, you are providing is you are a facilitator, a scheduling facilitator.
It's like a central hub.
Of,
we'll be
I
a
care
central
about this
hub.
game, and there is an opening at 2 p.m. on Friday, and it hasn't been filled yet. I'm going to jump in on that.
Yeah, they're a central hub for you to go to attend this virtual event.
Right. Yeah. So I'm surprised Tabletopia doesn't have that already.
I don't know.
If they don't,
they probably.
I don't see why this has.
If
to
it's
stop.
like Tabletop Simulator, I think you have to host a room and then you can invite friends or have it open in an open lobby, but it's not the same as actual scheduled events with slots.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's no equivalent of a bulletin board where I can see I love this game and my God, I could sign up for every Friday. I could play this game here.
No, it's more of a ebb and flow lobby where you can sign into a lobby and you can look for games that are open and jump in.
It's the equivalent of a first-person shooter. I just get online and I can just jump into a random server. Which does not work for board games.
No, it works better like this.
Rolling things.
Because with this, you can set up private rooms, have the events, have ticketed people. You know who to let in and who not. So you can have these games preset ahead versus like the Wild West of what Tabletop.
But is that as far as what you're doing for this event goes, Aldi? Or is it more just you have created an online scheduling system, but then, hey, okay, we're all here. And I mean, do they all log into your central meeting place and then they all push a button and get shunted to Tabletopia?
It can be like that. We're using tabletop.events.
Tabletop.events.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Okay, well now you have.
All right, what's that?
That system is amazing.
And this is already something that already existed?
Yes. That's the organizer, right?
Tabletop.
I mean, I'm hoping by virtual just putting your name on it creates a buzz and a critical mass, right? You kind of need a critical mass for this thing.
So you're partnering with Tabletopia and with Tabletop.events, basically. Yes. Which has a developer API and this and that and the other. Yeah, I have to admit, I'm embarrassed. I have no idea who these guys are. I've never heard of them.
They pretty much manage almost every small convention in America.
Okay, that's not nothing.
It's basically like, and I'm pretty sure Geekway, KublaCon, And honestly, we would have used them too had I known they existed before I wrote all my own stuff.
I feel less bad now knowing that you also didn't know they existed.
No, I mean, but until I knew they existed, but like I didn't know how good it was.
I see. Okay, yes.
I would have stopped writing my own. I would have stopped writing my own software to manage a Board Game Geek Con, right? But I've been writing it since 05 or 06.
All right.
So.
And so this is a system that they have had basically that anybody running a small to medium sized con uses this to manage all of the events of the convention, not the convention itself, but just the
it's super
handshaking of players.
Yeah, it's super powerful.
And is this the first time they're actually trying to do this digitally through you? Is this
so they're actually running Con of Champions this weekend. They themselves are running a convention this weekend.
Okay, they should put that on the front of their website, which they have not done.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's a missed marketing opportunity.
Indeed.
You don't see Con of Champions, or
I am on tabletop.events, and this is a page that is basically pitching to me as if I run my own convention.
Yeah, surprised they're not advertising at least in a banner ad or something about it.
It's at the top. There's a banner. It doesn't say the name.
You mean this have fun playing games and help us survive the apocalypse at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't going to click on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not much of an ad. It looks like more one of those.
No, I think they were pretty meager about putting that out.
Yeah, you think? I would not have clicked that either.
Yeah, and I've seen this in other locations, right? It's through Facebook and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not like I've got my finger on the pulse or anything. I know I'm always last, so it's not reflective of other people knowing about this. All right. So this thing they're doing this weekend is basically a trial run of what you're doing on a bigger scale.
Yeah, and they ran it for Gary Con a couple months back, which apparently Gary Con, I think, is going to just run it annually now, like run a virtual con annually on top of their physical.
Well, yeah, certainly role-playing games, I guess, is much better suited for this because you do not have to use your mouse to pick up a worker and place it on a space on the board.
Yeah, it can be all done through like Skype with one dice rolling app, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
And Lance, I think, uses Roll20, right? Or do you use
Roll20 is a big system, like that's well cultivated. So
yeah,
Roll20 is the bomb.
Yeah. No, Roll20 is awesome. So hopefully the board game virtual space gets more robust. Like I would like to see real games with rules enforcements, right? Like I know that's hard, but like, wouldn't that be cool?
Of course. Well, I mean, it's when I did a video for Tabletopia 3 years ago when they were on Kickstarter trying to do some fundraising, and they were the plans they had back then were just mind-boggling to me. All the ideas they had, and of course, rules enforcement was basically like their 2.0 lot. We're running, we're working, everything's networking fine. Number 2, rules enforcement, and I guess they still haven't gotten there yet because things tend to take longer than you expect.
Oh yeah, and the problem is gargantuan.
Oh,
for a computer science problem. I mean,
yep,
that's like solving like time travel. Sometimes.
Is it that hard? I mean, Board Game Arena, they haven't had a problem with it. Is it just the 3D element that makes it tougher?
I don't know. Are they solving it as a generic system, or are they solving it with explicit? You know what I mean?
I would imagine they're probably doing bespoke for every single game they put up.
That's what I was thinking would be easier, right? If you're going to develop a system that you really want to use and grow forever, you make a system. You don't code every single one separately.
Yep. Yeah.
At least that's what I would want to do. I wouldn't want to waste it's not a waste of time, but I wouldn't want to spend time doing each game separately and then just sitting in an endless loop of having to code new games. Why don't I make a system where everyone can just make their own and have a really robust set of developer tools,
As I understand it, last I knew, Tabletopia offers a service to any publisher, $300, and we will get your game on our platform, and we do everything.
Yeah, all you have to do is provide all the digital assets and stuff, and they'll do all of it.
That's really smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a no-brainer. I do not understand why every publisher in the industry hasn't just knocked on the door. Okay, $300, sure. And now we have a high-class, really professionally done digital version of our game that we know people can't pirate. And when they come and play it, right there is a button to buy the real thing. And all that cost us is $300. Why aren't their doors being broken down every day?
I bet they are now. And the premium games.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
They do pay royalties.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm done asking my questions. Thank you, everybody. Lance, you can have your show back.
He's still mourning his grandmother.
Oh, jeez. You guys are just dog. I feel bad, and I'm
I
usually
ver-
the one dog piling on.
I very rarely get one over on Lance. Very, very, very.
I was getting one.
You know what, Lance? Just because of how bad these guys are, I'm not going to even mention Last Jedi the entire night.
Please, not that again.
Doesn't bother me. Okay. I
thought of another question.
I finally finished The Mandalorian.
Go ahead. Have another
Kind of
question.
disappointed, actually. I don't know. Everybody's like ape shit over that show, and it's okay.
It is definitely very, very, very okay.
It is very, very, very okay. I was pleasantly surprised many times and happy to see some things, but it's
the
not.
Return of Troopers was fantastic. I would have liked to see 3 episodes at least devoted to Jason Sudeikis and whoever the other guy was, just sitting around on their speeders, waiting to get the call from their commanding officers.
Was that from another show?
Well, no. Oh, you never knew about Troopers?
No.
Troopers is one of the original successful fan productions. It's fantastic.
Oh no, I do remember Troopers. Oh, that was ages and ages. Was that supposed to be that? Was that the? Okay, okay.
I assumed it was a callback to that because
it was. Now that I think about it, it was Troopers.
Yeah, it had to be.
Like cops, right? I mean, but Troopers was like cops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, bad boys.
I think most people got hyped on The Mandalorian just because it was more in line with what they were hoping the new trilogy would be. And I think the people that hated the new trilogy latched on The Mandalorian because it wasn't done like that. I think that's where I got the hype. And for those who liked the new trilogy, they're going to look at Mandalorian and be like, it's okay. But those that like hated the new trilogy or the middle movie of the new trilogy are going to latch onto this just like Rogue One, people latched on to Rogue One because it was different from what the new trilogy direction was going. So I feel like Mandalorian on its own is a decent show, but it's amplified because of the Star Wars quality content most people deem we're getting right now.
Yeah.
Kabuki Kid's all braggy, brag. She's like, my friend directed Troopers, braggity brag.
Oh, really?
Braggity,
That's
brag.
pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Brag.
She can brag. So, no, I mean,
I was bragging earlier about how I worked with the creator of Zork for years.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark Blank. He gave me my first job. Siphon Filter.
Remember when Infocom tried to like come back with graphics and then the company?
Yeah, those all were terrible. But I mean, had Mandalorian been better, I would have watched it in one night. I watched it over 6 months.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I watched Mandalorian over the course of like 3 weeks. I watched the entire Tiger King thing in like a day and a half.
Yeah, we watched Tiger King in 2 days. Yeah.
It's like, I guess if that tells something, that's really telling something about where I felt, even though I liked Mandalorian. I guess knowing now what I know then, if I could watch Tiger King in 12 to 14 hours, why would I take that long to watch the entire?
I watched Ozark in 1 to 3 days.
Oh my God, Ozark season 3 was fantastic.
All the episodes of Ozark, seasons of Ozark, watching 1 to 2 days.
That was good.
Yeah. But Mandalorian was fine. I mean, I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Heck, I even watched the whole
totally
Jeff Goldblum show in like 2 days. That's really making me think if I liked Mandalorian as much as I thought I did.
You watched it? Wow. Okay. I watched that first Sneakers episode and I was like,
no, I watched the whole
that
thing.
was like well beyond peak Goldblum.
I don't know. I like it. I think he's quirky. I like his quirkiness.
He was certainly quirky.
Yeah.
But I mean, that really felt. I have a friend who talks about when somebody's trying too hard to be funny. To him, it feels sweaty. And it kind of felt like, okay, Jeff, you're doing your best Jeff Goldblum impersonation here.
Yeah, a lot of it though is that I work from home, so I have this stuff on in the background all day. So
sure, yeah.
With Jeff Goldblum, I probably watched 50% of the shows and just heard the other 50%. But like with Tiger King and like the new Last Dance stuff with the Chicago Bulls, I watched every minute of those and binge watched the whole thing. I don't know if you guys, I know you're not much sports fans, but
I'll probably watch it.
The Last Dance stuff, even if you're not, just to see like what they went through over that 9 year period was amazing. And Dennis Rodman is freaking crazy.
Is it developed by the 30 for 30?
It felt like it was in that style. Yes.
I like 30 for 30.
Yeah. What was that on, Pete?
It's ESPN exclusive, but they have all the shows for free on their website. So you just have to go to like ESPN/Last Dance, and you can watch all 10 episodes now back to back to back to back to back. I don't know if it's
I
going
did have
to.
one more question about your virtual convention, yours and Tom's. So, certainly the biggest hurdle to overcome is the fact that, yes, it is difficult. It's already difficult to play games that you don't know. And it's difficult when you're not sitting at the same table. But it's also difficult when you feel like you've got one hand tied behind your back and you're trying to move your pieces with your nose.
Yeah.
Because you're just not comfortable with these interfaces and stuff like that. Certainly, a big part of any convention is a robust volunteer staff. Are you doing something like that? Are you getting volunteers who will run the games for people or something along those lines?
For this first one, no, just because it's so short notice.
Sure.
I mean, I can probably tap into my volunteer crew and see if anybody wants to do that, but that's not their thing. They do. There is a group of guys that do BGG Con that love to teach everything.
Yeah.
I'll tap into those guys and see if they want to do it. But yeah, I hadn't thought about that actually. That's a good point.
Yeah.
If you get people that are familiar with the software, it takes the biggest hurdle out of it.
If you have some people that are just like, okay, we're just going to teach this game for 5 days straight.
Well, you don't even teach a whole game,
or maybe 2 days, and then the other 3 days.
They really just have to be there for the first 10 minutes to show them, hey, to do this, you have to right click here. To do this, you hit the Y key and do this. Once they get going, they'll do the rest on their own. But you need people in there to because people aren't going to self-educate themselves on how to use Tabletopia.
And I need to reach out to publishers and sort of put this in their ear, but like they should set up Zoom rooms to teach their game through like Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if I was a publisher, I would do it.
And in Kamon's case, you know what? 1 out of every 20 games will have a surprise guest appearance by Eric Lang. Where he's going to be.
Yeah, he would probably be happy to do that. He is so itching to do something right now. He's used to going to like 20 shows a year, and he's not happy right now.
Well, and just think how perfect that would be for him, since he's such a prankster, and he loves kind of goofing around and whatnot.
He'll just Zoom bomb you.
He'll Zoom bomb. He'll be like, Aldi, give me a link. I want to go Zoom bomb some group playing Blood Rage or something, and he'd be like totally good with that.
I got to play Ankh on Tabletop Simulator, and it was totally fine. Like it was totally playable.
Was Derek running it for you again?
I know it was Eric Lang.
Eric was running it.
Yeah.
Eric was running it.
We set up a few media events to show it off during the Kickstarter to specific media groups.
What can be done with the software as it is to make it more appealing to somebody who's like, look, I really don't want to do this, but I want to support Board Game Geek, and I do want to get a chance to play this game 6 months before it comes out. I mean, the thing that shocks me more than anything else, I've seen lots of people doing streams of Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator everywhere, and the one thing that perpetually shocks me is nobody's using preset cameras. All it takes is you get my board on the screen and then hold Shift 1, and now anytime I press 1, I'm looking at my board. And now put your board on the screen, hold Shift 2, and now I can instantly see what you're doing. I can instantly see what I'm doing. And now Shift 3 for the main board. That's really simple. And it's absolutely crucial. And instead, I see people dragging the mouse around and looking at this and looking at that. I'm wondering,
I think we're just at the beginning levels of all that stuff, right?
But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you're trying to sell this to people who are novices. Yeah. And if the
I wonder if Tabletopia
number one thing they know is
they're probably going to run some tutorial events, I'm guessing. Yeah,
it would be helpful because a lot of people don't know how to use the software. I've never played on Tabletopia.
I don't know how to use Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia.
I've played 4 games on Tabletop Simulator, all Marvel Champions. And it was fine once we got in, but it's been months since I played it. I don't even remember how to use it.
I know.
It wasn't
I'm the
easy.
same way. I played a lot of Tabletopia when I did their video a few years ago, and I am genuinely intimidated by the thought of sitting down and trying to do it now. And I'm really fucking confident with computers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, it's just such an investment.
Taking notes, Richard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do it. Maybe every game they do, if it's just part of the script, is by default, 1 is the view of the board, 2 is the view of player 2, 3 is the view of player 3. Just that, so the people don't feel like I mean, because that replicates what you do in real life. In real life, I look at a thing and then I look at another thing. There was no scrolling as I looked at the other thing. You know, me hitting keys 1 through 6 to just zip around to all the important stuff, the card draft section, the, my board, whatever it is from game to game.
Yeah, that's like a killer tip right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could do that in Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, I know you can do it in Tabletop Simulator. I'm sure you can, or I'm sure you can for Simulator. I know you can for Tabletopia. And then every time I see somebody doing a video, it's just very clunky, very sloppy, very clumsy, trying to move the camera around, spinning the camera to try and get 3D views. And it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Set up your cameras ahead of time. This is not how people
set up your cameras, people.
In real life. Treat it like a sitcom where you've got your 3 key cameras and it's just cutting back and forth between, the multi-camera sitcom thing.
This is kind of funny going for you, Rado, because you used to do your reviews with one camera.
Burn.
Do what I say, not what I do.
Burn. See, Lance, it's not just you. Even Rado gets it.
It's a fair point, but the reality is, I don't do those anymore. But
It's not as clunky, but yeah.
When I would film, I would be like this, and like this, and then like this. I was doing the equivalent of fast cuts because I found that people would tend to get less seasick under those circumstances.
Yeah.
If I did slow pans and whatnot, that was generally more problematic. Another thing I always did when I was trying to, if I've got a piece and I'm like, let's look at this piece. And while I'm doing that, let me look over here. So their eye is focusing on the piece and they're less likely to get motion sickness. I did that a lot too. So there are some tricks you can do to minimize it because some people just can't handle the motion in the ocean. Jen can't. It took her forever to be able to play EverQuest because she wanted to play it so bad, and she had to kind of train herself that as she moved her avatar around, she would literally move her head to try to get rid of the disconnect between her inner ear and what her brain was processing from the screen and stuff like that. But yeah, if Tabletopia can, every one of their games should have preset shortcuts, and I think they must do. I mean, they're not stupid. I mean, they've been doing this for a while, but it just drives me nuts every time I see
functionality.
Paul Grogan has done several of these and he's never doing it. And he's a really good, he pays a lot of attention to how he presents his stuff in his own videos. Right. But this whole 3D worldview is new to everybody, I think. Yeah. And everybody's treating it, look how cool it is. We can move the camera around. No, don't move the camera around. Fucking snap the camera around. So that's something. That would help.
So angry.
Angry.
I'm full of anger. So salty.
So are any movies actually coming out? I know besides like the Trolls and the Invisible Man.
The stuff straight to
as
DVD.
I understand it, the first theatrical film of note that is going to come out is the Tenet. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
From Christopher Nolan. His big summer blockbuster. And yeah, and that's currently scheduled to be, look, summer's back, baby, and Tenet's the first one everybody can go see.
I heard that, what was that Fox movie, New Mutants, was it? Or the horror Fox film.
Just put that one out of its misery and just put it.
I heard it's finally coming out, and it's probably going to be like buy on demand with the TV.
Well, I know Black Widow got pushed back to later this year.
Yeah.
I can't remember the date. I just know it was supposed to be out in like March and it got pushed back to like October or something like that. I don't know about anything else. There wasn't a whole lot of movies this year I was interested in other than the Marvel stuff.
Was Immortals and Doctor Strange all coming out this year?
No.
Or Eternals?
Was it Immortals? I think it was Eternals later.
It was Widow, Eternals, and one other movie this year, and
Doctor
all
Strange.
of them. Doctor Strange 2.
Is a couple of years off.
Yeah, I think that's next year or the year after.
Another Thor.
Yeah, everything's shifted a year.
But their whole schedule's probably pushed back because I think Black Widow's coming out at the end of the year, and that may be the only one we see this year. So they're probably because they had a whole production on them too, right?
Hamilton got pushed up, and it's going to be streaming. So
I'm actually excited to see Hamilton.
Maybe the Marvel movies will start going streaming.
No, they're too big of money.
Their billion, man.
Yeah, they're $1 billion movies.
What if
the number one thing I want is those Marvel TV shows. I got to have my Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I got to.
I wonder if those were
dying.
already filmed and in editing, because if they were filmed and in post, they could finish them.
From what I understand, they were okay. The Falcon one was. What was that other one? The
WandaVision.
Scarlet Witch.
the
WandaVision.
WandaVision one. That was
Yeah,
okay.
WandaVision.
The other one, I don't know. The one with the
The
Arrow guy.
what ifs?
Oh, Hawkeye.
Oh,
Hawkeye, I think they canned that one. And the what ifs, I'm not sure.
They did not can it.
I think something happened in
Shut
his
your
personal
mouth,
life,
Harry.
and they.
Shut your mouth. Are you guys gonna watch the Snyder cut of Justice League?
no.
I'm excited for that.
You heard about it?
if
What
it
is
ever
the
comes
Snyder
out.
cut? I
Yeah,
haven't
that
heard about
just
it.
got announced like today or yesterday, right?
I haven't
It's
even
gonna go
watched
directly on
Justice League
HBO.
normal version.
I
yet.
haven't even watched it either, but apparently there's a Snyder cut, the director.
From what I understand, he had a vision of like he was going to involve the
But-
Green Lantern Corps and a bunch of other stuff.
Zack Snyder. So I thought I
And this
really
was like setting
quite
it up.
enjoyed the Superman cut, like the real one, the full cut.
Yeah.
Man of Steel.
The Man of Steel.
I thought it was fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there were certainly problems with those films, but I really respected their ambition and what they were trying to do. I thought the Batman versus Superman original 3.5-hour cut definitely worked a lot better than the truncated theatrical release as well.
Well,
And-
according to this article here, as of May 5th, Hawkeye was not canceled because it's saying Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, What If, and much more are coming to the MCU side of things.
Yeah, I saw I just did a search and
Okay.
it said that it was apparently you're right. There was some controversy around Jeremy Renner. I guess some Me Too stuff. And so it might have gotten shelved, but it looks like they might be going ahead anyway.
Okay.
Is he a Me Tooer?
I'm not sure. I
Okay.
I did
Just
not
wondering.
read the stories. Apparently there was some controversy about him.
Controversy.
Hmm.
That was a good Prince song. Remember that?
I wouldn't know.
Was that a Prince?
I
So
heard.
let me guess that song probably came
You're
out.
from
way-
Minnesota.
Yeah, that means. But I also like as everybody else is like listening to Prince, I was listening to Slayer. So I.
Oh, cool. Tough guy.
No.
Tough guy Slayer. Did you
Yeah.
carve a tattoo in your arm with a switchblade?
No, I was
Did you
just.
go to a Slayer concert?
I've been to 2 Slayer concerts.
Did you get punched?
Uh,
Or did you punch anybody?
I mean, I was punching people in the pit, but that was when I was younger. So, you know,
You could take a punch.
I didn't. I mean, I never got used. You never get used to getting hit, but I mean, you know,
Yeah, you never like it.
you never like
Yeah.
it, but you definitely learn how to roll with it. You
Yeah.
I
definitely
remember.
learn how
I
to-
forget which pit it was. It was something like it wasn't Slayer because I didn't want to go to any of that crap. But like some pit, I watched a guy just going like this. He was just running around just with his arms flailing.
Oh, usually
Yes.
those people that flail like that, somebody eventually just comes up and just
Clotheslines them.
clotheslines them or cold cock,
Yeah.
or just gives them a hammer, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
just like, you know, and everybody's happy to see it happen, right? I mean, it's just it's definitely one of those things where you know, it's the pit was always kind of dumb. I mean, after I got into in my 20s, I was like a lot of punk concerts, a lot of metal concerts. But even like in my 20s, like I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit back here and have a beer and watch those idiots beat the hell out of each other, you know, just because I don't need to be in there to prove anything to myself anymore.
Oh, so here's a funny story. I mean, I don't know. It's not that funny, but it's interesting. So the people who bought my house sent me a Facebook request to be friends. So I added them. I recognized the name. And he wrote me a message.
idea.
He goes, I got like 10 boxes of board games. Should I? Do you want me to bring it? He offered to bring them to us, and I'm like, no, we're not. No, I'll
Did you
pick them
forget
up.
them?
No, it's just old Kickstarter shit going to the old address that I can't.
Oh,
share.
that's still getting delivered.
Yeah,
Oh.
And he went to University of Florida, which is cool. And he goes, we should hang out and watch football. You have football games. I'm like, I don't watch football. You have football games, but whatever. I was humoring him. He's a young dude. So anyway, it's kind of fun.
And then you were like, yeah, just send them.
I thought he was like, my sink's fucking leaking. You asshole.
I was just saying that's a bad move, but
Yeah.
considering your Kickstarter habits, it's probably good to stay on good terms with them because you'll
No, I
probably get
told
another.
them. I told them. There could probably be at least 100 games set headed your way.
Yeah.
and give me a ring whenever you want me to come get them, and I'll just come get them.
You know, the post office does forward stuff.
It's not all post office though. Some of
Not
it's
UPS,
FedEx, some of it's
FedEx.
UPS. Some of it's,
I've been trying to figure out how to do it, and I cannot.
You cannot put in a forward at FedEx or UPS?
you can.
You can.
It's not as easy though, but yeah, you could
I
go
would have
in
to
and
know
if
the
you set up
tracking.
a My Choice account, you can change the address to all of your packages to be delivered to your alternate address.
You have to have the tracking information for every single one.
Yes.
You can't just say forward every box. That's
But you should be getting emails with tracking for all your Kickstarters.
Holy doesn't
You
go
ain't
through
got time
all
to
that.
read those emails.
Ain't got
You
time
need
for
to
that.
hire someone to
Stop
handle your
moving.
Kickstarters, Aldi. I told you this like a year ago. You need to hire yourself a Kickstarter liaison.
I'm off the Kickstarter. I only backed
Before
2
the
things.
COVID, he could afford to have a personal
No,
assistant.
I've cut my
I'm
kick.
off the Kickstarter.
I ordered Hell, and I ordered one other thing the other night.
Onk.
And I'm done. I did order Onk.
Oh,
that was
no.
before yeah.
What will the library do?
Oh, hey, did the pledge
We're gonna
bank
have
open
to-
up for that?
Not yet.
All right.
Should be soon though. Should be soon. I know the retail pledge is scheduled to go up probably. It usually goes up about a month after the campaign, and the regular pledge goes up right before it. So it should be soon.
Has anybody gotten the Gloomhaven backer yet? Backer
No, I didn't sign up for it. Frosthaven, you mean?
Frosthaven.
No, I skipped
I
it.
heard a rumor that he was charging sales tax, and the shipping was pretty hefty.
Oof.
Yeah.
Sales tax on and shipping? Ouch.
Yeah.
That's going to be like
So
an extra
$100
40, 50 bucks.
$150.
I bet you people just won't buy it now.
I wonder.
Poor guy will only make 12 or 13 million instead of 15 million.
I'm
Don't
sure
buy
it's one of those things where you can't have a $14 million thing and not have the IRS say,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Yeah.
That's probably accurate.
I mean, you can.
What a nightmare that has to be, though, considering he's shipping to so many different regions and states and stuff to have to calculate all the sales tax individually on each of those pledges. The
Wow.
30,000 pledges that he has to do. I mean, that's like 2 full-time jobs just to do that.
Oh, he hired an entire shipping company. I mean, it was all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it went through. Do you guys know Aldo?
I mean, that campaign's
I
going
know
to tie up
Aldo.
a fulfillment company like an entire month to
Yeah.
fulfilling that.
Well, Funnigan did the first one.
Yeah.
It's something like 14 containers showed up in one day. I think Nick lost many years on his life when he had to start handling that.
Womp womp.
Mm.
Are we playing? Are we playing that stupid?
Oh, not now. It's 1 a.m. I'm
no,
not.
I don't. You can leave. You move.
I am
every
gonna leave.
single time anyway. I wanna play my
You can-
my murder hotel game at least once. I'm so mad I haven't won yet.
Murder trivia. I
Oh.
won for the first time last week. That's pretty cool.
If Pete can go, I can go too, right?
Yes.
I can't hold you to this. I can't.
You
Keep
won like every time you played, Richard. You don't want to play.
No, I didn't. I every time I only played twice, and in both games I was smoking everybody. But then at the last second in the catch-up thing,
Did Lance undercut you?
and no, I think actually both times an
That
audience
was
member
Kabuki.
did. I
It
think
was
Kabuki.
Kabuki. It was Kabuki is. If
Kabuki
someone
draw.
was keeping track, Kabuki has won way more
just
than
hang
anyone.
out for like 15 more
Kabuki's
minutes
the
and play
Anthony
one
of
game.
initials.
You
All
might
right,
get-
I'm in for
you might
one
get-
game, but I'm leaving after that. I'm not getting sucked into 5 or 6 like last time.
You might get to draw a penis on a back again.
I
You
will
never know.
absolutely draw penis on
All right. Well,
something.
now that you got
Yeah.
Pete, you don't
The
need me,
penis
so I'm going to say goodbye,
No,
everybody.
no,
See you, Richard.
Come on, Richard. You're even on the West Coast. You don't have to go to
I
bed yet.
know.
No, it
And
was
he's
nice
his own
chatting
boss.
with
He
everybody.
can
I had a
sleep
lot of
over there.
fun. I hope you enjoyed the game. Does that Jackbox have an equivalent to the original You Don't Know Jack?
Yes.
Because that's what I was thinking. I was
All
thinking
of
about,
For
Should
those
we
of
play
you who
that?
like that, right now on the Epic Store, all of the Jack stuff is on sale, and they have that rotating $10 coupon. You can buy basically every volume of Jack for like $12.
well, it's been a
Do you wanna
million
play
years
You
since
Don't
I
Know
played Jack back in the 90s. But what I remember about Jack is it was fucking fast. And it was just
Yeah.
go, go, go. A couple of quick jokes and move on to the next thing, as opposed to long queued animations and
It says 10
explaining-
rounds. Yeah, this Jackbox has 10 rounds and it goes fairly swiftly. Do you want to do that one?
I'll do a fast one.
You can drop it.
But
Come
that
on,
murder
no,
hotel
I
took
don't-
forever.
Lance
no, it
wants to do the
doesn't.
murder mystery one, though.
But we'll do that
Murder
after. Lance, we'll do
Hotel.
that after.
Oh, fine.
After all the
You guys are
shit
like a
you've
bunch
given
of
him,
babies.
you owe him
Yeah,
this.
I know. You owe him, mate.
No,
Poor
I'm gonna-
grandma.
I'm committing to playing it. It's just you know. Are you mocking me?
Just give us a code, or you're losing me too.
I'm not. It takes time to load.
It has to go to space.
You didn't have it loaded the whole time?
Oh, come on, man.
He was taking your insults.
This menu screen is a binge cooking.
All right, so I got a question for you guys while he's loading.
Yeah.
I was thinking today, like, I remember watching the Challenger explode and the Berlin Wall coming down on TV and all that.
So you would anyway, cheerful things, but go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, historic, you know. Do you think the children growing up will remember this time like that or no? Because everything.
I don't know, because it's not one singular event. It's just a bunch of events strung out over a long period of time. Like the cracking of the Berlin Wall, you actually can vividly remember the pictures of the guys standing on the wall with the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Challenger explosion. This is something that's taking place over the course of 5 or 6 months and could be taking place over a much longer period. It's not a singular thing like a 9/11 or something like that, where you can focus on one thing. There's so much going on. I don't know that it'll have that same effect.
No, it's at the end of the day, we're getting what, 3 9/11s a week in terms of actual death.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's invisible. You're either in the middle of it, in which case, yeah, you're gonna fucking remember this as
Or you're
well,
not, or it
died
hasn't
of
affected you at all, and you're basically just waiting for things to get back to normal.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is weird to me just how invisible all the suffering is. Other than, oh, the economy is really bad and it's going to be tough for people to find jobs. Yeah, what about all the people who are writhing in agony and dying miserable deaths?
people's
And,
experiences in New York are going to be way different than in like Wyoming or even South Carolina, where
Yep.
the numbers are low. But then you got New York and Washington, where it was like, it's crazy. So I think it's going to be different for so many different people.
Yeah, I'm reminded of,
Yeah, but 9/11 was like that. I mean, yeah, it affected us consciously as a country, but it only really affected Washington.
Codes in the chat.
9/11, we saw people holding hands as they jumped out of 50-story windows to stop from burning to death.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing like that is happening here.
Yeah, I think I'm already in
No,
all the, but it hasn't.
That
done
kind of
anything.
really horrific tragedy is happening every second of every day as a result of this. And I don't know why it's invisible. I mean, the Vietnam War had so much protest because it was the first war that was televised. And I'm really not quite sure why all of this stuff is just being so sanitized, all the really horrific stuff that's happening. I mean, the worst we're getting is, oh, look, freezer trucks in New York. And that's a harrowing image, but not as much as people holding hands as they fall to their death, jumping from 50 stories. So.
Do you guys see the
Cheer me
code?
up.
Code's in the chat.
I'm already in.
Yeah, I am
What
too.
do I have to do? I have to go to a site.
Jackbox.tv.
Jack.
You said you were good with computers, right?
Enter my
You,
code.
you playing Barry or?
Yeah, fuckers. I'll play. Fuckers.
Sit back and relax. This is Binge Pipe. Is that the name of the game?
Yep.
Talk about the spooky world of ghosting a relationship. Ooh.
You guys see it okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just waiting
We
for Kabuki and whoever else is jumping
we
in.
don't have to wait
I'm
for
not supposed to look at my
Kabuki.
browser.
We
I'm
can
supposed to look at
move
this. Right. Okay.
Kabuki might be busy.
Oh,
He's
she's there. Don't worry. Prepare to lose.
For everything.
What is happening? I'm not supposed to look at my browser.
Yeah, you are. And the screen.
It's weird.
Oh, right. On my because I did it on my phone last time. That's
It's
right.
weird, isn't it? Yeah.
So okay.
You
My
run it side by
browser is my
side.
phone. Got it. Okay.
I had a great time on the tonight.
Binge Pipe is proud to resurrect from the dead. You don't know, Jack. Binge Pipe. We're cool. Trust us.
Hey, it's your host, Cookie Masterson.
Cookie.
And idea, pants for plants. You're welcome. The fire marshal said the maximum occupancy for this game should be 5 players, but I can tell you people don't play by the rules. Okay, no turning back.
Time for question 1.
To get things rolling, acting. Who is Sir Patrick Stewart? That actor from Trolls? That actor from the Emoji Movie? That actor from The Nut Job? Or that actor from the Angry Birds movie?
Oh,
Okay, let's take a look. Distinguished actor Sir Patrick Stewart portrayed the voice of Poop in the Emoji Movie. God, I love the theater.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Here we have, when I mentioned the anaconda, it was not a euphemism. How long was the longest snake ever discovered? 3 Nicki Minaj's, 4.5 Nicki Minaj's, half a dozen Nicki Minaj's, or 6 Nicki Minaj's and 2 Sir Mix-a-Lots? What'd you guys pick? That's just over 25 feet. That's long and strong, but not enough to get the friction on. Nicki Minaj is 5'2", and Sir Mix-a-Lot is 5'11". 6 of the former and 2 of the latter would be just under 43 feet, the length of the largest snake fossil ever discovered.
wow.
This Titan boa grew
Fossil?
larger than the
That's
anaconda because it
fucking
was less
misleading. I thought they were talking about a live snake.
whether you had buns or not.
I assumed the same.
Why don't we do it with 3?
Next, K for country, and D for this or that. I'm gonna list off 7 things, and for each I want you to tell me if it's the name of a Korean pop music group or a micronation. You know, little groups that claim they're a country but no one else thinks they are. Yeah, one of those. Think fast, you'll only get a few seconds to pick between K-pop or a micronation. And you're all doing this together, so look alive. Ready? Let's go. Boys Republic. Dubland. Bye Bye Sea. Kingdom of Viper. Island and 3 Sisters.
Son of a bitch.
Urban Zacapa.
Damn it.
Republic of Fredonia. Most of you nailed that, but player 8, of all the losers, you were the loseriest.
Customer satisfaction seems to have dipped.
Looks like it's screw time.
That is the truth, Cookie. Using the screw makes it harder for all the other players to answer in a variety of pleasurable ways. And you'll receive a monetary bonus for anyone who answers incorrectly.
I couldn't have said it better myself, apparently.
Binge Pipe, your loyal friend that's also a company.
I don't need you anymore.
Here's one I like to call single serving of science. Finally cashed in that 20-year-old Bed Bath & Beyond coupon and got myself a sweet new coffee maker, but it only takes K-cups. If K is referring to the unit of measurement Kelvin, what's in 1 K-cup? Frozen coffee, highly pressurized coffee, microscopic coffee, or coffee from the future? Let's see how that shook out.
Ow.
Kelvin is a thermodynamic temperature measurement, and 1 Kelvin is just 1 above absolute 0, which is absolutely undrinkable. Introducing a name to forgive but never forget. Which of these is the real name of the real person who really composed the opera Hansel and Gretel? Francis Babertooth, Catherite, Meisternut, Jimothy, Chompadunk, or Engelbert Humperdinck? Okay, who chose what? Don't cry, it'll grow back. Yep, that's really his name. Keeping in mind this is a different Engelbert Humperdinck than the contemporary singer who is also named Engelbert Humperdinck. What is happening?
That's what I thought.
Round 1 is dead to me. Let's see those scores.
Currently, player 5 is in the lead. Speaking of the exact opposite of that,
Screw you,
these
Barry.
players are doing the bad
Killing
thing.
it, Barry.
So here come the screws.
Round 2 screws are more powerful, and they'll net you more cash for each player that gets the question wrong. So don't be afraid to use them. The rest of you better answer quick or you'll end up screwed. Oh, and by the way, all the cash in round 2 is doubled, in case you care about things like that.
I feel good about this.
6 trombones is not a parade.
And now, south by south-north. Which of these southern points is farthest north? The southern tip of South Korea, the southern tip of South Dakota, the southern tip of southern Ontario. Uh-oh. Player 2 has invoked the screw. Binge Pipe was going to make you read this eventually. Might as well be now.
That's actually pretty good.
Let's see who got it. You're gonna laugh. The south of South Wales is the farthest north of all these southern points. This type of directional confusion is what we do west. Expert screwing, player 2. This is your cash now.
Oh my god. I'll be right back.
Je trouve Jerry Lewis sonnant légèrement amusant. 7.
Up next, Octopus Coffee, Queen Elizabeth, or Frankenstein?
Octopus, coffee, Queen Elizabeth, or Frankenstein. The doctor, that is.
Important part of the inspiration for the invention of the first webcam. Octopus, coffee, Queen Elizabeth, or... Look sharp. Okay, player 8 just screwed everyone. Oh, don't crane your neck. So what'd you pick? Bam! I mean, splat. The webcam was invented at the University of Cambridge so researchers could check and see when the coffee in the break room was ready. I always put a piece of tape on my webcam so the CIA has no idea when my coffee is ready. Nicely screwed, player 8. Here's that cash.
Garbage.
Yeah.
'Twas then I learned to heed the winds of 8.
It's time for... Come here and look at this fancy fish. And uh-oh, chest strut fits lime floor.
It's time for a...
Get those typing fingers ready because the longer you take, the less money you make. Okay, head in the game. Look at this gibberish phrase and tell me what popular phrase it rhymes with. Here, glove kissing trout. And pay no attention to that punctuation. Are you scared? That other people are having more fun than you?
Oh, I got it! Ugh.
Anxiety of not attending.
I know.
Okay, pencils down. Player 2. You just didn't get it, did you? Who else took a shot? I think we were all thinking it. Now let's keep going.
Only 7,100.
Coming up next, hip-hop and we don't stop, but we should. What would the name of the Work It singer look like if you were to flip it and reverse it? Janim Ikin, Ijailb J. Iram, Nuskaj Tinaj, Ro, Ta'ila Isim.
I have no idea.
I guess that's a song.
Who picked what?
Yeah.
The 2002 hit Work It was written and performed by Missy Misdemeanor Elliott. But her lyrics are so killer, she should be called Missy Felony Elliott. You know what I mean? No? Okay, fair enough.
Did you know that, Barry?
It was a very lucky guess.
There is no hiding from, is there a Mrs. Worldwide? If the rapper Pitbull wanted to honor the origins of the Pitbull, what sexy club scene should he show in his next music video? A Rottweiler grinding on a pug, a bulldog grinding on a terrier, a Doberman grinding on a dachshund, or a boxer grinding on a Shih Tzu? And how'd we do? Pit bulls were bred by mating a bulldog and a terrier. Thankfully, we've made it through the only dog sex question in the game. Actually, I can't promise that. You made it to the attack. When you see an answer that matches the category, tap it on your device. The faster you pick a right answer, the more cash you make. And more than one answer can be right. But each time you're wrong, I'm taking some cash away. And be careful. It's gotta be a match that fits this clue. Spoiler alert, they die. I'm gonna give you some killer plot points. Good luck.
Oh, 1954, Godzilla. Oh, you bastard.
Ah! Son of a bitch, I hate this game.
Sure.
Gotta be
Player
shitting
3
me.
taking it.
Wow.
Gotta be shitting me.
Congratulations,
Oh,
Player 3.
Eat
That was
it.
a close one, but you really did win.
Eat it.
Miracles are everywhere. Just
That's
remember,
basically one question.
I would like to take this moment to retire champion
Oh.
of You Don't Know Jack.
Enjoy this exclusive behind the
Hold on, I
scenes.
gotta do my stretches.
Yeah. There's one thing I do know is that this game sucks and Last Jedi was awesome.
I know you don't really like Last Jedi.
All right, I'm out. You guys have fun.
All right.
Good night, everybody. That was
Good
fun.
night.
Sleep the sleep of losers. There
Yep.
you go.
Oh, Jesus.
I missed the sound effects though. None of those were the right sound effects. I
No, they're
still
not.
very clearly remember the sound of You Don't Know Jack, and that was not it. But it was still
More modernized version.
yeah. Sometimes the old ways are the best. Bye.
See ya. The one that I liked was in the Sean Bean dies or whatever. It was Game of Thorns. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, I got that.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And then you're just like, son of a crap.
Are we doing the murder trivia or no?
No, I think.
Don't want to lose. Don't want to lose yet.
Well, I mean,
Walk away a winner.
We
A
lost
winner?
so many people. You know, I mean,
Sure.
that game's really only fun with a bunch. You know. And I'd hate to, crush, yet another, game in one evening. Just wouldn't feel right. You know how it is.
Oh, I had a grievance. We went, like I said, we went out to BJ's, right?
What now? Say it again.
We went to the BJ wholesalers. It's like Sam's Club or what's that other big one? Costco. Yeah, it's similar to that. And I was in one of them cart, them buggy things, yeah. And I happened to glance to the right, and I just seen this person's ass with the jeans on. And they were so tight that I could not only see the wallet but the cell phone. And I was like, why would people wear them that tight? And then I went by them and I realized it was a dude. And I'm like, why would a dude wear pants this fucking tight? The boys need to breathe. I know I'm not big old fashioned, but
what a weird rabbit hole we're going down right now. I had a grievance too, and I totally forgot what it was. I'm still very I still get very annoyed by and there's like been two. Okay, so like I backed a bunch of RPG stuff, and like a lot of the people that do the RPGs, they do their own like pledge manager type of thing. Like go to my website, log into my website, you can download the PDF from my website, that kind of thing. But you can't just do it. You got to log in, you got to set up an account, you got to do that whole process, which is garbage. But I mean,
yes, yeah.
But whatever, it's the way to get it. So. But websites that make you actually choose a username instead of just using your email, it's one of those things.
Is it a security thing?
It's so ridiculous. It's just like it's just like because in the olden days that was the idea. You had a username on a website, right? Because you'd log in and you'd go to their forums and you post things and what have you. And it's just like
So quaint, right?
What?
So quaint.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's totally old school and as you say, quaint. It's just but it's dumb. It's like give it up.
Why would you want to get rid of usernames?
Yes, then there's a name to the person.
Well, I mean, the thing is that your website was made, and your website. I mean,
in the 1960s.
That cute little thing you have going on over there.
There was dial-up.
I mean, but you have a forum, and you have things where people post and you upload things. But for the most part, if I'm just going to somebody's website where I just want to log in, and
email password is really the only thing here.
Yeah.
Oh, I got stuck in some website this week where I needed a very specific set of password rules. Like no, and there was no special characters except for like 5 of them. Like, what the fuck is this? No special characters.
Really?
Yeah, I forget what it was. It might have been AT&T.
I mean, there are those things that are
Backwards
just weird
website.
holdovers, right? I mean, that just
Yeah, and it could be more than 12 characters. I'm like, why does it matter? That's more than 12. Just drop off the other 18 characters I put in my passwords. You know?
Yeah,
Like, just ignore those. Don't error me.
Did you have anybody no show today, by the way, for your thing?
No, everybody was there.
Everybody was there. Okay,
There was one person who who thought about coming and didn't, which is fine. Like, a 2-person team.
Oh, screw
The
that.
demo, but it was no big whoop. Yeah, I'll be surprised. I wonder if we'll have a no show tomorrow. I don't think so. I know almost everybody.
Well,
They're
it's
all-
not like they can say I was busy. I had something
Yeah,
else
I was
to be.
busy.
Yeah, no.
You can say that in certain situations. Like,
Oh yeah.
I had a bee infestation this week. I was busy.
Good
You're
on
still
you.
battling the bees.
Good on you for not killing them too. By the way.
Oh, I'm sure plenty were killed, but like they took as many as they could.
Yeah.
Because they basically had to. They did the forest fire thing, like the smoke.
Yeah.
And then they had to cut the thing out, and then
I go through
How
those.
much was there? Are you have to fix the side of your house now, or what are you gonna do?
they repaired it. And I can't see the work because it's so tall. Like I can't see
Yeah.
it. So
Like I said, I go through that with wasp every couple of years. For some reason, I can't get that hormone out of this one spot. I just keep coming back to it.
I wonder why.
But I had to do the same thing. Smoke it, it makes them lethargic. And
Yeah.
then cut it out. And all
Well,
that.
he was telling me they think there's a forest fire. And
Oh, is that what it is?
They fly away, but I don't know. I mean,
Well,
I guess
it probably just triggers something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The millions of generations of bees has slowly but surely learned that when
It was weird because I walked outside and my neighbor was like, "You smell fire? Or do you smell smoke?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're removing the bees today."
Yeah, but unlike you, I don't ship them somewhere else. I just kill the fuckers.
Well, I mean, most people, if you're doing it yourself, you don't have the capability of saving it.
Yeah. Well, not the bees.
These guys had all kinds of gear. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's that, and the big thing, like down at our lake cabin, like for the longest time, we had this big giant tree in the middle of our front yard, and the tree eventually died, and so we eventually cut it down. But like every other year, you'd leave for a week, you'd go home, and then you'd come back up the next weekend, and there'd be a fucking wasp nest,
Yeah.
up in there, and you're just like, and you're, and you have to call somebody to come out, and I mean, and you hear all these people like say that they would, oh, I handle it myself. I go out there and I, spray it with the wasp be gone or whatever, and yeah, I saw one guy try to do it himself, and he had 27 boils on his face from where that came out.
Like an Animal Crossing.
You wear gear, yeah.
Yeah, they were. I am officially over any interest in Animal Crossing at this point. I mean,
I could never get over the first hump. I mean, it's just too boring. It's so boring.
It is. There is something. I read an article. Okay, so I once told you guys about the they had the what was it? It was the Amazon Fire Stick. And I was like, if I was ever a stand-up comedian, this would be one of my bits. The Amazon Fire Stick, when it first came out, and they were like selling for $10 or whatever it was, and it was like, and that was like, it was way cheaper than a Google Chrome or a Roku or any of that stuff, right? And so they had this thing where the ad for it was like, oh, it comes preloaded with Netflix, and obviously it'll have Amazon Prime on there, and just how you have all these things. And then it said that the Fire Stick will learn the types of shows that you like to watch and judging by those things that you watch, it will like preload like the first like minute of those shows in the memory on it, because it said you shouldn't have to wait 10 seconds for your show to start streaming. And I said, if this is why the terrorists say this, it's just like, we're like, because people are reading that.
Can't wait 10 seconds.
Yeah, there are people reading that like, you're right. I shouldn't. This is America. I shouldn't have to wait 10 seconds for Bones season 3 to start playing for me. Just like, I remember reading that and I was just like, that's ridiculous. But where was I going with this? I was going with this like
probably not with grandma.
What?
Probably not with grandma.
No, shut up. Funny guy.
I'm falling asleep.
Yeah, you are falling asleep.
So I will talk to you.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap her up. Let's just thanks for coming on and making fun of me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no worries. Anytime.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, good talks. Good job. In all seriousness, though, very good job today. I was.
Oh, thanks.
I was impressed with the. I mean, it looked great. It was crisp, and it was, Beth knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, Beth's really good at this stuff.
And obviously Lincoln had his video set up, perfectly. So yeah, everybody, cool. I thought, and it was fun, right? I mean, it was
that was fun for me.
And yeah, it was good stuff. But anyway, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Back again next week.
See ya.
See ya.